For the Montreal Expos, who are not expected to fare well, but they are red hot. They've won 10 out of 14 in the second half of the schedule. In fact, had won 8 in a row before they entailed a short 3-game losing streak, but they snapped out of that with the victory last night against the Reds. And as we said, Cincinnati in front. Houston beat the New York Mets today, so Houston continues to put pressure in what has been a tight National League West race. But right now, the Cardinals lost their 8 games over Montreal and 9 over the New York Mets. St. Louis pretty badly well. Ron Robinson against Dennis Martinez. And here with the starting lineup for tonight's game, here is John.
All right, Dick, thank you very much. For Pete Rose's Cincinnati Reds, 3 Cincinnati players on the field tonight from Cincinnati. And leading off, Barry Larkin. He's from Cincinnati. He'll play shortstop. At second, he'll play third base. Eric Davis bats third. He plays center field. Dave Parker bats fourth. He's in right field. Paul O'Neill in the lineup. They're platooning in left field. He'll play there, bat fifth. Bo Diaz does the catching, batting sixth. Nick Osowski, who's been installed at first base, bats seventh. Kurt Schwarber, the switch hitting second baseman, bats eighth. And Ron Robinson does the pitching. For Buck Rogers, Montreal Expos, quite a few lineup changes in the last couple of games. He's given people days off. Casey Candale, the do everything player for the Montreal Expos, leads off, plays right field tonight. Herm Winningham is in center field. Tim Raines bats third, MVP of the All-Star game. Tim Wallach does the cleanup chore. He'll play third base. Hubie Brooks bats fifth. He plays shortstop. Andres Galarraga, the big cat at first base. You're going to hear a lot about him. He bats sixth. Tom Foley in the lineup tonight, the former Red, plays second base. Jeff Reed bats eighth, does the catching, and Dennis Martinez on the mound. We're almost set. The umpires are out, and before they get the game underway, let's pause for this word.
Balls and strikes tonight. It'll be Greg Monin at first base, Bob Davidson at second, Wendelstedt over at third, and good crowd on hand for tonight's third game of the 4-game series. And since they covered this roof, it's been awfully humid here, so we have kind of a humid evening here in Montreal.
Well, they've got a fan blowing tonight. It was really warm last night, very humid, and they're going to put air conditioning in after this season. It'll be in for next year. But finally, the Big O has a ceiling, and a few little cracks out there. Yesterday, a huge storm, and water came flooding in through there. There's an opening behind the center field fence above the scoreboard. Now, the scoreboard, is about 3/4 of a mile, would you say, from here?
It looks that way.
And, of course, there it rains in, but a lot of protection here. The Montreal Expos have gone out of the way. Mr. Brofman, the owner, has taken a man out of his Seagram's plant, executive, put him in here, and they have really motivated the fans to come back. And, of course, this ball club is playing well. And as a result, the fans are starting to come out and show a lot more interest and enthusiasm.
It's really interesting year to year, John, how teams, and they talk about the preseason dope. This team isn't going to contend. They're not going to be around, and all of a sudden things happen. You never really figure what's going to happen. Who figured that the San Francisco Giants would have the injuries they've had and still be within range of the Reds right now?
And it's made quite a difference for their bullpen in particular, that now that Roger Craig is starting to call the pitches for Scotty Garrelts and for Jeff Robinson. Garrelts pitched a couple of innings today, struck out 4. His last time out, he pitched a couple innings, struck out 5. So Rogers found the formula for calling for his bullpen. It's going to be a race. It's going to be a tough race. The Giants went out and made some trades. They got rid of a very promising third baseman, Chris Brown, and they got rid of a couple of bullpen people, Mark Grant, and they thought really that Grant and Davis might be the answers for them before the season started, but they were very pleased with Trevecki and Lefferts, and of course Kevin Mitchell. They lead the league in double plays. They've got good defense. They've got those split-fingered fastballers. So before it's done, you're going to hear from the San Francisco Giants, and Cal Daniels for the Cincinnati Reds will be back probably within maybe a week, and that'll make a lot of difference for that ball club. But true to form, you cannot pick and you cannot choose who's going to be the best ball club. And you know, with Tim Raines not playing that first month of the season, they were like 5 games below 500. He came back and quickly instilled the winning ways for them. It's been a real turnaround. And here tonight, a right-handed pitcher, a cast-off, has just done an excellent job with a 5-1 record.
Dennis Martinez, of course, had originally been with the Baltimore Orioles, and he began this year signed to a minor league contract with the Class A Miami Marlins in the Florida State League, and then was signed to a free agent contract by the Expos early in May, and was signed to Indianapolis in AAA. And he was acquired in June 8th, and he has won 5 and lost only 1. And he was victorious in his last outing. And he has all the array of pitches, a fastball, curveball, and changeup. And in his last outing, in the victory over Houston, he felt very strong coming out and threw nothing but fastballs and was hit hard. And then, of course, he went from a thrower to a pitcher and settled down. But he's 32 years old, Dennis Martinez, who's been around, and he's always had a good arm. The question is, what's upstairs with Dennis?
Well, he must be smarter, because Neil Heaton came in after a terrible first inning, in which he gave up 2 runs to the Reds last night. Martinez went over to him. He said, "I don't really like to do this." He said, "But it looks like you're aiming the ball and not throwing the ball." That was all Heaton needed to hear, because he never really had a problem. It was the shortest game of the year for the Reds last night, 2 hours and 4 minutes. That's kind of a dinosaur anymore, somebody playing a 2-hour and 4-minute game.
Heaton has done well, of course, 11 wins, Sebra, and they have really picked up the slack. We talked about Raines missing the first month as a free agent, and Dawson going to Chicago, and Jeff Reardon is another guy who went west in the American League to Minnesota.
And boy, they said, Neil who? They couldn't believe that somebody would trade Jeff Reardon for a left-hander that had a 7-15 record, and Brendan Smith, a guy that they didn't even give a contract to. They came and gave him a tryout in camp. He's up here pitching, and Buck Rogers has just pulled all the right strings.
All right, set to go. Barry Larkin, right-handed batter in the batter's box for the Reds, and the right-hander Dennis Martinez in the windup. And the first pitch of the ball game was a fastball, high ball 1. Larkin is hitting .232. Has some speed, 11 stolen bases on the year. Outfield is not playing deep, but straight away. Martinez has the sign from catcher Jeff Reed, and the pitch is fouled off into the Cincinnati dugout, and the count is 1-1. Galarraga is at first base, Tom Foley at second, Hubie Brooks at short, and Tim Wallach at third. The outfield, Raines in left, Winningham in center, and Candell in right, and Reed behind the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike. On deck is Buddy Bell, along with Wallach, Johnny's pregame guest. Here's the delivery by Martinez. Fastball fouled on the screen, 1-2. Larkin has hit safely in 10 of his last 12 games, and one of the good-looking young Reds.
Well, and one of the things that has really changed him is putting him in the leadoff spot. They have been trying to experiment with different people. Once Cal Daniels went down, they couldn't find a leadoff hitter that could do the job, and he was wallowing around 206. All of a sudden, they put him in the leadoff spot, and his average jumps up.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Martinez kicks and deals. Breaking ball is hit out to right center field. Giving chase is Winningham, and he makes a one-handed catch in right center field after a good run.
Probably their best defensive outfielder. He played in the 9th inning last night, came in late as a double switch, and played in that position. And that's his job out there. They really kind of disappointed the fact that he did not perform well, hitting .216 last year. And Buck Rogers gave him a chance to get in the lineup tonight, just making sure that people have enough time. And he directs the outfield. That's his position.
And a former New York Met came along in the deal for Gary Carter. Here is Buddy Bell hitting .295. 7 homers and 36 runs batted in. Big right-handed batter. Hit ground ball to third base. Wallach in, makes the play to Galarraga. Quickly there are 2 down. So they're 2 away. And of course, if you were with us at the top of the broadcast, you heard how much Buddy Bell in 16 years in the big league sorely would love to get into postseason play for the first time.
Maybe only Jose Cruz has played in more games. And we're talking about 2,000 games for Buddy Bell. In fact, when he started this season, he had played in 2,133 games. This being his 82nd game, so in 2,200 plus games, he has never played in a World Series. Now, Cruz last year got to play in the playoffs.
Here is Eric Davis, having a remarkable season. Looks at a breaking ball low and outside, ball 1. Davis is hitting .320 with 28 homers and 76 runs batted in. He's 1 home run behind Jack Clark of the Cardinals and has the best slugging percentage in the league. And Second in stolen bases, and you'd have to say that Clark may be number one, and Davis right with him for MVP honors in the league. Here's the 1-0 pitch. A changeup is lifted high in the air to left field. Tim Raines has a play on it, and he makes the catch. A 1-2-3 inning for Dennis Martinez, and Montreal comes up in the first inning, no score. Cincinnati Reds were retired in order, and now the Expos coming up in the first inning, and Casey Candell, the right fielder, leading off, left-handed batter against the tall, rangy Ron Robinson. The first pitch from Robinson is a fastball down the middle for a called strike. Candell is a switch hitter. He hits better as a right-handed batter. Third baseman Buddy Bell is in, and the pitch is fouled off, out of play, 2 strikes. Well, Johnny, I guess the players were taking a pool as to when Candell was going to hit his first major league home run, and he finally did it.
He finally did it, but there were some guesses 1989 that were in the pool. In fact, they painted the seat and they gave a seat. They took the seat out and put a yellow seat in there.
Here's the 0-2 pitch, and it's lined into right field for a base hit. Candell obviously doesn't hit for power, but he knows how to make contact, and he's on at first base now for the Expos to lead off the bottom of the first.
They call it the Admiral Byrd shot, his home run, because it went straight for the pole. It hit the foul pole. They took the seat out. There was a blue seat, and they gave it to Casey, and they put a yellow one in there. Now, for the second night in a row, somebody's sitting there, and I'm not sure that they gave him the ticket season pass.
They thought he'd never hit it in this stadium, where home runs don't come out easy. Here's Herman Winningham, who's hitting .268, left-handed batter. And a good lead at first by Candell. Swung on and hit high in the air to left center field. And it's Paul O'Neill in left center makes the catch for the first out. So Winningham, swinging away on the first pitch, is retired. 1 out, and Candell goes back to first base. And the hand here at Olympic Stadium is for Tim Raines, who has missed just 2 games. Since joining the club, he missed the first month of the season and has been on an incredible tear. As John mentioned, was the MVP in the All-Star game. Second in the league in hitting. He was the batting champ last year. 36, a switch hitter. And like Candell, hits better as a right-handed batter. He has 8 homers, 39 runs batted in, and leads the Expos in stolen bases. So Robinson taking time. Saski holding Candell at first. First pitch is down the middle for a strike, 0-1. On deck is Tim Wallach. 1 on and 1 out here in the bottom of the first inning. The Expos trying to pick up a full game on the Cardinals, who lost today to the Giants. If they do, they'll be 7.5 behind. To the belt goes Robinson. Pitch is slapped foul out of play to the left side, and it's 2 strikes.
They got to 7.5 just a few days ago, but then you mentioned earlier about the 3-game losing streak. And at the same time they were losing 3, the Cardinals were going through San Diego winning 3, and they picked the games right back up, and it was 9.5 at that time, and it fluctuates. They don't have to worry going from 9.5 to 7.5. The Reds are the ones that have to worry, and of course right now you might say the New York Yankees are the ones that are going to have to worry.
Count is no balls, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. It's a curveball outside, 1-2. The Reds, by the way, have won 5 of their last 8, and they have been in the lead in the National League West since May the 29th. And as we have said, a lot of clubs have had their chances to catch the Reds and have just not been able to do it. 1-2 the count with 1 out. Candell, the runner at first base. Bottom of the first, no score. The pitch breaking ball gets away from Bo Diaz, but it gets away in front of him, and so Candell can't move, and he goes back to first. Count is 2-2. Robinson is 3-3 on the year with an earned run average of 4.16. This is his 37th appearance and 7th start. So he has had to come out of the bullpen. What kind of adjustments has that meant for him?
Well, not much. He has been that type of pitcher for the Reds for the last couple of years, so it really hasn't been that big of an adjustment. He just wanted to know from the early time in spring training, what am I going to be?
2-2 pitch, and a pitch out, nothing going on, and it's 3-2 now.
He is experiencing some elbow problem, and it has been bothering him after the last 2 starts. Now, this last start that he had, he really felt like it was better than before, but he also gave up 4 home runs in the game.
His last win was June 23rd. He's had 3 no decisions in his last 4 starts. The count is 3-2. There goes the runner, and the pitch is swung on and lifted high in the left field. Paul O'Neill has to come in. He's there to make the catch for the second out, and Candel, who was on the run at 3-2, goes back to first. So there are 2 down here in the Expo half of the first.
Casey, somewhat of a stealing threat, you might say. He's attempted 12. He's only been successful on half of them. And Bo Diaz, one of the more successful catchers in the National League at throwing out runners. Boy, they present such a problem anymore.
2 down to Tim Wallach, who's having a sensational season. Wallach is 3rd in the league with 77 runs batted in, and just on the fringe of 300, hitting .298. The infield and outfield playing back. Sasky holding Candel at first base. Robinson to the stretch. First pitch is a breaking ball, just misses. 1-0. The Expos won 8 straight games, and they didn't do it with a lot of runs.
6 complete games in their last 10 wins.
That's how they did it. 1-0 pitch. Another slow curve. 2-0. 2-0, and Wallach steps out. Hubie Brooks is on deck. No score, bottom of the first inning. 2 balls and no strikes. Wallach should get a decent pitch here. Fastball, and it's popped up, foul, out of play, straight back. Good fastball, and Wallach was right on that. Just missed it.
Wallach has driven in 34 runs with 2 outs on him, and that's really a telltale, a tale of the tape, because he is able to produce under pressure. And of course, Candel runs, and he's 2nd in the major leagues in doubles with 30.
Candel has the lead at first. The 2-1 pitch is a breaking ball outside. 3-1 now. 3 balls and a strike to Tim Wallach. Nick Sasky holding the runner on at first base. Here's the 3-1 pitch, and it's lined in the gap to left center field, and way back off the top of the wall. Candel will score easily as the ball bounds into center field. Holding his second with a double is Wallach, and the Expos take a 1-0 lead.
Well, it looked like he got all of it. You mentioned the fact that this is one of the more difficult ballparks to hit home runs in. Probably second only to the Astrodome. St. Louis probably has a few more now with Jack Clark playing along in that place, but it was a high fastball, and that's his bread and butter. He drove it well, about 380 feet within a foot of the top of the wall, and the ball came back so hard that it actually was almost halfway back to second base before Eric Davis could pick it up in a run, and there's your 2-out base hit.
They'll make it 38 RBIs coming with 2 down. It's 1-0 Montreal. Here's Hubie Brooks, the right-handed batter. Wallach with the lead at second with 2 out. Fastball is in for a call strike. Brooks is hitting .297. 8 homers and 32 runs batted in. Another ex-New York Met who's having a fine year indeed. Robinson working a little quicker now. Comes back and misses just outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. So Wallach now with 78 runs batted in on the year. And Wallach, with his 31st double of the year, ties with his teammate Galarraga for the National League lead as Brooks fouls it out of play.
Back to back in the middle of the lineup. You got trouble when you have to face Raines, Wallach, and Brooks. And then the young man behind them, Andres Galarraga, may be as good as the rest of these in the future. And right now he's proving it. His average up and his home runs will be coming.
2 down. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and a breaking ball is fouled back on the screen. And a pretty good man with the glove as well, Galarraga.
Ooh, he is smooth as silk. And watching him take infield practice, and even before the game, while they take batting practice, the coaches stand out and hit the balls to the infielder so that they get plenty of work. And he just picks them up and throws them down to second base. Doesn't even look. Has that beautiful flair about him.
1-2 pitch. Fastball up and in on the fist. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2 down. The Expos lead 1-0 on Tim Wallach's 2 down, 2 out double. He's on at second base. Hubie Brooks the batter, and the count 2-2. Play him straight away, and now Larkin, the shortstop, trying to keep Wallach close to second, and the Pitch is foul down the right field line, and Brooks, trying to protect the plate, nearly had himself an extra base hit. Candell started it off with a single to right field. 2 outs later, came around to score from first. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Fastball swung on and missed. Strike 3, and the side's retired. But the Expos get a run on 2 hits and leave 1. And after 1 full inning of play, it's 1-0 Montreal. We'll be back in just a moment. Olympic Stadium in Montreal. This is Dick Stockton along with Johnny Bench, and we go to the top of the 2nd inning with Montreal leading 1-0. It'll be Dave Parker, Paul O'Neill, and Bo Diaz to face Dennis Martinez. And Dave Parker tied a career high for him with 6 runs batted in the opening game of this series on Thursday.
And it has been a struggle for the last week for the big guy, the Cobra as they call him in Pittsburgh. He took batting practice and had only like 4 singles in that whole series in Philadelphia, and all of a sudden he turned it on, got the head of the bat out front, pulled some balls, got a double last night, and then Neil Heaton shut him down.
So the big rangy left-handed batter awaiting the first pitch from Dennis Martinez, swings and lifts a high pop fly to the left side of the infield. In short left is Hubie Brooks, and he's there to make the catch for the first out. This broadcast is presented by the CBS Radio Network and by the authority of Major League Baseball. It may not be reproduced without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. Here's Paul O'Neill, who has been platooning in left field with Tracy Jones, and O'Neill hitting 169 and 59 at-bats, 3 homers and 8 runs batted in, and Tracy has not been all that happy with his platooning situation.
Tracy at 195. That's why he's not playing tonight.
First pitch is in for a strike to O'Neill.
You know, with Cal Daniels out, they said they wanted to do it. Cal Daniels, they started playing both of them. Parker came into play first, and Tracy hit 195, and Pete said, what can I do? He's going to give Paul O'Neill a chance.
Martinez comes back 0-1, and a line drive to center field. Going back is Winningham, and he's there to make the catch. Winningham covers a lot of ground out in center field, and he had to really get on his horse to grab that line drive by O'Neill. 2 down. But it appears that Tracy Jones is going to be a player of the future for the Reds.
Well, you have to think so. He's aggressive. He loves to play, almost loves to play too much. Some people kid him that his real name is Norman Bates.
Well, we haven't seen his mother. First pitch to Bo Diaz is hit off the fist to third base, and Wallach makes the play in the second straight 1-2-3 inning. And after an inning and a half, Montreal 1, Cincinnati 0. Right now, let's pause 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the CBS Radio Network.
75 degrees in Rochester with scattered showers throughout western New York. The time is 8:02. You're listening to the Sports Leader, 1180 WHAM, Rochester, New York.
Andres Galarraga, right-handed hitter, leading off for the Expos in the bottom of the 2nd inning, looks at a breaking ball for a called strike. Johnny mentioned when you're hitting number 6 in the lineup and you have 65 runs batted in, time is called on before the next pitch, then you know that you have a batting order that can do some damage. And Galarraga has really come on strong. He has hit .352 in his last 30 games. Here's the 0-1 pitch from Robinson as a fastball, a bit high, 1-1 to Galarraga. Galarraga and Wallach are now tied for the National League lead in doubles with 31 apiece. Ground ball hit to the right side and off the glove of Stillwell. Recovers nicely, makes the play, not in time. And on at first base is Galarraga. Stillwell recovered nicely, but his throw was on a bounce to Asaski, and Galarraga with good speed is on.
Well, one of the problems for Kurt Stillwell has been errors. That's the 17th error of the season for the young man. He's destined, I think, for stardom, but they have moved him from shortstop, his original position, and let Larkin play short. After he fielded and picked it up, he couldn't get out of his glove, and, well, I hate to see it for the young man, 21 years of age.
Error charged to Stillwell, and here is Foley, the second baseman. One hop to Osaski, goes to second on a hop, safe. Everyone is safe. Osaski's throw to Larkin at shortstop was on a bounce, and Larkin couldn't handle it, and so the Expos have runners at first and second and nobody out, and that too should go as an error.
Well, it'll definitely go as an error. He made the decision at that time to go ahead, and he just never turned around and got in position all the way around to get the ball in a straight line towards second base. The runner was not in his way. He had no problem with that. He just short hopped it, and actually was more than a short hop. That in-between hop, which is the toughest one that comes up to the waist, and Barry Larkin could only knock it down.
Buddy Bell going over to Ron Robinson to try to settle him down, because the Expos, through no fault of Robinson, and runners at first and second, nobody out here in the bottom of the second with a 1-0 lead, and Jeff Reed, the catcher.
Well, he also wanted to put the play on.
Reed looks at a pitch inside, ball one.
They have the bunt play. They have about 3 or 4 different ones. They have the wheel play. Everybody moves at once, and he was saying, maybe he was saying, I don't think he's bunting in this situation, or he knew he had to go just to settle him down, make sure he knows where he's going.
1-0 pitch to Reed, swung on and driven foul out of play. Reed has been up 108 times, is hitting .198 with 8 runs batted in. And we'll see action against right-handed pitchers.
Well, the problem is Mike Fitzgerald's finger. It is still swollen. He's having trouble throwing the ball. They were out working with him prior to the game. They hope he's going to improve that.
Curveball on the corner for a strike. 1-2 to Reed. Galarraga on at second, Foley on at first, by virtue of Cincinnati errors by the right side of their infield. 1 ball and 2 strikes, the count to Reed. With the open stance, on deck is the pitcher Dennis Martinez. To the stretch goes Robinson. Checks the runners, and a curveball is bounced to Stillwell. He goes over to second for 1. The throw to first, not in time. They get the force at second, but the Expos now have runners at first and third with 1 out as Galarraga goes to third.
Don't be surprised with Buck Rogers trying to score runs in any fashion, even a squeeze play. He'd be willing to give up a pitcher and kind of sacrifice. It could be the straight sacrifice bunt, and I guess that's why they're having a meeting at the mound right now with Buddy Bell and now Bo Diaz with Ron Robinson, as Dennis Martinez, who is a refugee from the American League, has not had that much batting practice, but you might have a chance to see him swing the bat. He's talking to Jackie Moore, the third base coach, and we want to let you know that at the end of today's game, we'll be announcing the Great Gates Belt, the big hit of the day. Gates, makers of great belts and hoses for your car.
So Martinez has finished his conference with Jackie Moore. By the way, Ron Hansen is the first base coach for the Expos. Bell is at third, getting ready to charge. 1 out, runners at first and third, and there's the bunt laid down foul off to the right side. So Osaski and Bell charging from the corners, and the count is 1 strike to Martinez. Expos threatening here with runners at the corners with 1 out after scoring in the first inning on a 2-out double by Tim Wallach. Top of the order, Casey Candell waits on deck for Montreal. Robinson, 0-1 delivery, and bunted foul off to the right, and a squeeze was on, and a great pitch for Robinson because he threw it in such a way right at Martinez that he had to defend himself with the bunt and bunted it foul. Robinson deserves a lot of credit for preventing that squeeze from being successful.
That's called not sure whether you should hit the deck or, hey, there, wait a minute, he broke. It's a curveball. It looked like the fastball. And if you haven't hit and you haven't seen it for years, you see a ball hit towards your head and it starts right at your Beano, you all of a sudden flinch. That's just exactly what he did, and his head pulled out, and all of a sudden he realized it was a curveball, and it was really a good athletic move just to get the bat back on the ball.
Count is 2 strikes. Martinez squares around, pitches fastball up high, 1-2. It used to be, and I don't know if it still is, that really the only pitch The weapon against the bunt would be that high fastball, but there are some other things you can do.
Well, the high fastball up and in, or the slider. The slider probably being the toughest pitch to bunt because it looks like it, and you keep reaching for it. You don't go out in a smooth manner and try to catch the ball.
Here's the 1-2 squaring around, and there's a bunt. It's in play. The runner at third stays there, and the tag is put on by Osaski. Well, the Expos get the runner over to second, but don't get the man in from third as Martinez is retired on the bunt. Give him a sacrifice. First base unassisted. So with 2 out, runners are in scoring position at second and third, and the top of the order, Casey Candell.
Good effort by Martinez with 2 strikes to get the bunt down. I'm sure he has spent a lot of time. He realizes that to stay and play in the National League, you got to be able to do everything as a pitcher, and that's to help yourself. And he did a very good job.
So Galarraga's at third, Reed is at second, and the first pitch is a called strike to Candell. Candell singled to right field and scored the Expo run in the first. Outfield straightaway. Here comes Robinson's next pitch, just missing outside, 1-1. So the Expos had 2 runners on 2 Cincinnati errors, and Robinson. Retire the side. So Stillwell with a fine play throws out Candell, who's got speed to end the inning, and after 2 full innings of play, it's 1-0 Montreal. We'll be back in just a moment.
Service in Nicholson, Pennsylvania, as the Gates Dealer Sports Fan of the Week. Congratulations, Carl Rogers. You've been in his station, I suppose.
Many times, John, and
bicycling?
Yeah, well, yeah, I understand he has one in Bavaria. Nick Osaski will lead off for the Reds, and we move to the third inning. 1-0 in favor of Montreal. It would have been more had not Stillwell really saved a run with a fine play behind second to throw out Candell to end the second inning after the Expos mounted a threat. So here's Osaski hitting .234 with 12 homers and 34 runs batted in. And the infield plays well back against Nick. Dennis Martinez has the sign from Jeff Reed, and the first pitch is a fastball away, ball 1. Osaski has one of the best home runs to at-bat ratio in the National League.
Outstanding power, and they keep trying to trade him. He's been on the trading block for 3 years. He keeps showing up.
1-0 pitch, another fastball in for the strike. 1-1 to Osaski. Pete Rose has platooned Osaski with Terry Francona. Former Expo. Here's the 1-1 pitch, curveball inside, 2-1. At one point, Osaski had home runs in 4 consecutive starts, including a game winner against Ron Darling in the New York Mets.
With 2 out.
2-1 pitch, curveball. Big high bouncer to Wallach at third. Makes the play, 1 down. 1 away in the third inning, and Martinez has retired the first 7 men he's faced. It'll bring up Kurt Stillwell, a switch hitter. Stillwell hitting to the left side, hitting .255 overall, 3 homers, 24 runs batted in. First pitch from Martinez, fastball, strike 1. The Expos have won only 1 of 4 games against the Reds here at Olympic Stadium. They're 4-6 against Cincinnati overall on the year. The 0-1 fastball inside, 1-1.
Got the Baltimore Orioles, his former team, running off 10 in a row. But my favorite team, the Salt Lake Trappers.
Yeah, why's that?
27 in a row.
Line drive, base hit right field by Stillwell. Now I can understand why.
You have been. You were over in Europe, so you didn't hear about it.
No, I didn't. I have to admit that.
They won their 27th game in a row last night. It's an independent team that has been put together. Former coach. It was out of Lamar College. out in Colorado, put this team together. They split the first 6 games they played, and now they are 30-3.
It's not one of those teams like Bill Lee pitches for, is it?
Close. It's in the rookie league, so they figured all these veterans out there.
Here's Ron Robinson, who's 1 for 13 this year. 1 out. Stillwell on at first base. The first base hit for the Reds with 1 out in the 3rd inning. So Martinez working from the stretch for the first time. They're looking for the bunt to throw over to first base. Robinson has 1 RBI this year. Of course, the Orioles have run off that great winning streak, and of course you always have to ask the question, now that the pressure is off, is that a factor in them being loose enough to run off a big streak?
No, the pressure wasn't there.
Bunt, fair ball, and it's fielded in fair territory by Galarraga, who makes the throw over to Foley covering for the out. So the sacrifice moves Stillwell over to second.
I think we should give the sacrifice to Galarraga.
Yeah, he could. That ball was headed foul.
Wasn't any question about it. He grabbed it on the line.
That was not a heads-up play.
Well, he really thought he had a chance at getting Stillwell at second. That's why he rushed in there to grab it. And then the ball, at the angle it was going, it was a foot fair, and then it was headed straight for foul territory. He picked it up right on the line, and Robinson turned around and looked at Crawford and said, "That's awful nice of him."
Meanwhile, the Reds, with an opportunity to tie the game, have a runner at second. As Barry Larkin comes up, the top of the order, second go-around. Larkin fly to center his first time up. First pitch from Martinez is a fastball just low. Ball 1. So Stillwell, the tying run at second here in the 3rd inning.
Barry got a couple of hits off of Dennis when they played in Cincinnati, 2 for 3 against him.
Martinez was a 4-1 victor, going the distance in his last effort. Comes back 1-0 to Larkin. Fastball is fouled down the left field line.
Dennis Martinez, very impressive. He's working the corners, got a good live fastball. He throws the curveball. Looks like he's doing what Heaton did last night, taking a little bit of his own advice. And that's just letting the ball go and throwing it and picking the corner up, using the control that he has normally and not aiming it and getting in trouble. And what they call chance deviation. Throw it and hope it hits that spot, but otherwise it winds up out over the plate.
Martinez from Nicaragua has the count 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 down. Stillwell the runner at second, and Foley chases over to make sure he stays there. The bat goes flying, and the ball is fouled out of play as the bat goes all the way to the backstop. Slipped out of the hand. Could have been worse.
Just missed Buddy Bell. I mean, just missed it. One of those that you follow through and your hands roll, and when your wrists go, you lose it out of your hands. And he just fired that baby right out through there, and Buddy
looked like the hammer throw in the Olympics.
Well, you know, that happened one time where a player swung for the Dodgers and hit the ball and broke in half. The bat came back and the pointed bat, and that was Steve Yeager, who got stabbed in the throat by a bat. It's good to keep your head up.
And that goes for people sitting behind the dugout and in the stands.
Well, Bernie Carbo hit the same guy in back-to-back at bats.
Well, that's because
over the top of our dugout.
Because he had something against that guy. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count to Barry Larkin with 2 down. 1-0 Montreal. Martinez to the belt, checks the runner, fastball missing outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Buddy Bell on deck. An alert Buddy Bell, we might add, on deck.
He is now.
Cardinals losing to the Giants 5-4. Expos trying to pick up a full game. Here's the 2-2 pitch, breaking ball, and it's blocked in front of the plate by Jeff Reed. And the count is full now, 3-2. Scott Garrelts beat Bill Dawley today. Chili Davis hit his 16th and Bob Brentley his 12th for the Giants. Oquendo hit number 1 for the Cardinals. The Dodgers beat the Cubs 7-2. Behind Ken Howell, Tewksbury took the loss, and the Houston Astros beat the New York Mets 7-5 as the Shades beat Don Schultz. Carter hit his 13th home run for the Mets, and Kevin McReynolds number 19.
That trade that Chicago and the Cubs and the Yankees pulled off has been even so far.
3-2 pitch hits the batter. And going down to first base is Larkin. And so Buddy Bell will come to the plate as the Reds have 2 runners on and 2 out in a 1-0 Montreal game, and that breaking ball just got away from Martinez.
Yeah, you could tell when he got to the top of the release point, he missed it, and it came out. Maybe the humidity, maybe just a little bit damp here, and it has changed here in the Big O, because now you're getting working up a little sweat. You probably noticed that if you'd have been here earlier. You were up here in the booth. I was down on the field, but I was throwing a little pepper to Rick Bell, my buddy's young son, 8 years old, and he was smoking them. I'm trying to retrieve them. Before I know it, I'm dripping wet. He's out there having a good time, and even the balls that he picked up, he wouldn't throw back. He hit them on the ground like they were golf balls. I felt like I was at the driving range. Getting back to the curveball, it was slipping out of his hand when it hit him.
It's kind of wet. Not the ball, of course. Martinez facing Buddy Bell, fires inside, ball 1. 1-0 Expos. We're in the top of the 3rd inning here at Olympic Stadium. Dick Stockton and Johnny Bench. And hope you're settling back and enjoying the game on the CBS Radio Network, wherever you're listening to us.
Boca Raton, Florida is listening.
Well, we know one listener there. 1-0 pitch in there for a strike, 1-1.
Norman, Oklahoma. We got a couple of people out there. It's hard to pick it up there. I guess they get mom and dad a new radio. They have a little trouble picking up all the games.
Well, I know you got them a new watch. Wristwatch for Christmas.
You're going to talk about the watch they gave here, and then you're going to give Leslie the watch and say, I went out and bought it for you.
Bluff to second base, and back goes Stillwell.
You know, they had a problem back at second base. Foley came in one time, and they weren't turning around. There's a timing play somewhere. They just haven't gotten it together. There's 3 different people out there that's not normally there.
1-1 pitch. Grounded foul past Billy DeMars. And the count 1-2. Atlanta and Philadelphia at the bet, 1-0 the Braves after 4 innings of play. David Palmer against Tom Hume. Pittsburgh and San Diego, it'll be Brian Fisher and Andy Hawkins. That's a later start. American League, the Red Sox beat Seattle 11-5. Minnesota over Toronto 13-9 in a high-scoring affair. And the White Sox beat the Yankees 3-2, John mentioned. Detroit 5, California 4, and Texas over Cleveland 7-3. Here's the 1-2 pitch in the dirt again and blocked by Jeff Reed. He's had a busy inning.
Minnesota returned the favor on Toronto. Last night with a 6-1 lead, Toronto Blue Jays scored 7 runs in the 7th inning. With a 6-4 lead that Toronto had over Minnesota today, they scored 7 in the 6th and turned that ball game around. What a race. This is great. I mean, everybody's involved, and there's so many teams in that West. There's 3 teams in the East that are all sitting there on the door. It's just a wonderful situation. And here in the West, the National League, there's 3 ball clubs, and of course the Cardinals, the only one that's even comfortable after losing 2 in a row and not worrying about it.
Martinez steps off the rubber. Working and taking his time to Buddy Bell. The Expos with a 1st inning run. 2-out double by Tim Wallach. They threatened in the 2nd. But Ron Robinson pitched out of it, and after retiring the first 7 men he faced, Martinez has runners at 1st and 2nd and 2 out to Buddy Bell. 2 balls and 2 strikes to count. And here's the pitch. It's another fastball just a bit low and outside. Martinez is not missing by much when he misses. And the count is full 3-2, so the runners will be off on the pitch to Buddy Bell.
If you'd have had that umpire in the American League today that was calling balls and strikes for Chicago and New York, he would have been out of the inning 3 men ago. I've seen some strike zones before, folks, but that was unbelievable.
Talk about getting squeezed. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Crowd getting into the act now. Runners will be off, and Martinez steps off the rubber. So hold the phone. And, of course, waiting on deck, if Bell can keep it alive, is the dangerous Eric Davis. Three balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. There go the runners. The payoff pitch. Breaking ball inside, ball 4, and the bases are loaded. So Stillwell singled with 1 out, and Robinson sacrificed when Galarraga picked up the ball. He could have let it go foul. And Stillwell moved to 2nd. And then Larkin was hit by a pitch on 3-2, and now Bell walks on 3-2 to load the bases, and now a conference at the mound. That's the first walk issued by Dennis Martinez. Larry Bernard, the pitching coach, out to the mound briefly. Now they're going to set the pitch to Eric Davis with the bases loaded, and a tough spot now for Dennis Martinez. Davis flied out to the left fielder Tim Raines, his first trip. So the Reds with a golden opportunity here with 2 out, and their big gun at the plate, Davis. Stillwell's at third, Larkin at second, and Buddy Bell at first. Into the windup, Martinez. The first pitch is a breaking ball, misses 1-0.
He only has 4 so far this year. All grand slams. Hit 3 in the month of May when they hit 17 home runs that month.
Only 4 salams.
And it's all been on the weekend.
There's the 1-0. Low again, 2-0. So now Martinez has boxed himself in here behind 2-0, and with Dave Parker, a left-handed hitter, coming up next, he's got to come in with a good pitch to Eric Davis here.
He's an American League pitcher. He'll nibble somewhere.
2-0 pitch. That didn't quite nibble. It was inside 3-0. You're right, though. Yeah. 3 balls and no strikes.
He just went to his mouth. Well, he was back on the edge, but he was close enough on that dirt. I think he was trying to get to his mouth so that they would call ball.
Without having to toss the ball. And without having to throw the walk. Okay, 3 balls, no strikes. 2 out. Bases loaded. Here's the pitch. Ball 4 outside. And Martinez walks in the tying run. And it's a 1-1 ball game. Davis will get credit for an RBI, his 77th of the year. Davis will get credit for an RBI, his 77th of the year. And it's now a 1-1 game. So here was Martinez sailing along, retiring the first 7, and has run into a lot of trouble here. Scoring is Stillwell. Larkin's at third, Bell moves to second, and here's Dave Parker, who pops the shortstop. Actually, the pop fly was in short left field. He's hit a few grand slam homers in his career.
Yes, he has. He had a 3-run massive home run here the other day.
First pitch is way outside, ball 1.
You can tell how interested the fans are and how they're feeling about it. They have an applause meter out here in right center field, Dick. So if you watch those little green lights, you know exactly how excited they get. Now, if they win, it hits the ball, but that's the only way.
Well, right now it looks like one of those green lights when you're walking in the street.
That's right.
Here's the 1-0 pitch to Parker. Swung on and foul tip. 1-1.
Looks like one of those things that they kill mosquitoes with out at the house. I mean, we got some big ones.
Needless to say, it's not registering very high in the decibel level. Maybe because a little of the humidity in here.
Applause does better than booze, I might tell you.
It always does. 1 ball, 1 strike to Parker. 2 down, bases remain loaded, and a chopper foul off to the right. And the crowd, for a bit of a derisive cheer for Dennis Martinez, as the Expos, Randy St. Clair, warming up. Start activity, and Mr. St. Clair, the right-hander, throwing easily in the bullpen beyond the left field wall. Martinez, as John mentioned, hasn't missed by much and really has experienced control problems in the last 3 batters. He's ahead of Parker, however, 1-2. Here's the offering. Fastball on the inside corner, strike 3. Parker wheels around. He doesn't like it. Argues a bit with Jerry Crawford, but that'll do it. The Reds tie it up, and after 2.5 innings of play, it's the Reds 1 and the Expos 1. 3rd inning. It'll be Winningham, Raines, and Wallach against Ron Robinson, who had a pitch out of trouble in the 2nd inning, had runners at first and second and none out. Not of his own doing. There were 2 Cincinnati errors, but a fine play by Stillwell ended the threat. Greetings to all of you across the country enjoying the baseball game of the week on CBS Radio, and to those of you around the world tuning us in on Armed Forces Radio. Dick Stockton and Johnny Bench here at Olympic Stadium in Montreal. Left-handed hitting Herman Winningham, who fly to left field his first trip. First pitch to Robinson, and running up the bunt, taking ball 1 is Winningham. 28 runs batted in already is a career high for him. Bell even with the bag at third.
Next pitch on the corner for a strike, 1-1. Tim Raines waiting to hit. 1-1 delivery. Curveball in for ball strike 2, 1-2. I guess Mario Soto hopes to get back in August and is undergoing rehabilitation for his shoulder. And right now he's here. He'll go to Sarasota very soon with the rookie league and get a couple of starts there, and then they'll move him up to Nashville. 1-2 pitch, grounded to Stillwell at second. He'll make the play, and Whittingham's retired, 1 away. They'll try to move him along as slowly and as effectively as possible. The young man who's been such a driving force in the Reds as far as the pitching goes. It's only about 75 miles an hour right now, and they're pretty pleased with that. He's only about 15 minutes. Whether he'll be a factor in September, they're still trying to deal for pitchers right now. They're talking with the Montreal Expos about Jay Tibbs, the pitcher that they sent up here in a trade, and now twice this year has been sent down to AAA Indianapolis. Here's Tim Raines. Curve missing away. Raines is 0 for 1. Sorry, didn't get to see him in the All-Star game, Dick. He put on quite a performance. Yes, he did, and ended it after a tense thought duel. Curveball misses again. 2 balls and no strikes. And that does a lot for a guy, doesn't it, to be a hero of a game like that? Yes. Fastball bounced up the middle. Stillwell behind the bag, makes the throw. Not in time. Beating it out is Raines. Larkin was cutting over also, and Larkin had a duck out of the way. I don't know if that made a difference in any hesitation by Stillwell, but in any event, Raines is beating it out for an infield hit. Well, it's up to Larkin really to make the play because he's going that way, and he actually cut in front of Stillwell. There shouldn't be anybody has to call the ball. That should be a play for the shortstop to be able to field the ball and go straight on across. No way he should have that ball. He should. That is his play as far as we see the replay. So Raines is a threat, has 29 stolen bases in 31 tries, and getting squared away at first base right now, being held on by Nick Osowski, and the batter is Tim Wallach, who drove in the Montreal run in the first inning with a 2-out double off the wall in left center field. It was quite a shot and didn't miss a home run by much. 1-1 to score, bottom of the third inning. Robinson with a courtesy toss over to first base. The Expos have out-hit the Reds 3-1. Cincinnati has committed 2 errors. 1 out, Raines the batter, and another toss over to first base. A little more serious this time. And a hard throw over, and Tim gets back. 20 stolen bases on a row for Raines, 29 out of 31. That's a pretty good ratio. Of course, they steal off the pitcher. Of course. We never thought otherwise. Diving back and out at first base, and Robinson picks him off. He worked on him, and finally threw over there, and Tim Raines dove back, not in time, and has been picked off first by Ron Robinson for the second out of the inning. Well, they got him, and that's something rare indeed. Got him going on the wrong side, diving in. He saw he was caught. He finally got him leaning, and I know the crowd doesn't like it. First pitch to Wallach is a ball outside. But, you know, it takes so long to throw over to first base. That's what really helps slow down the ball game. But sometimes it pays off. There, 1-0 pitch, 1 hopper right back to the mound, and that'll do it. No runs, a hit, none left, and after 3 complete, we're tied 1-1.
Play my partner, John Beck.
Thank you very much, Dick. Looking forward to later on in the fall when we get together for the playoff. Right now, maybe we are seeing a playoff team in the Cincinnati Reds, leaders in the Western Division. Montreal Expos, well, they can't give up. Something could happen to Jack Clark, and that could turn everything around. Fastball by Martinez, fouled at the plate by O'Neill. O'Neill stands in.
0 for 1 on the evening. Or is it him with a 169 average? You're both pretty good, all right. This last start turned out to be the game winner. Martinez has given up only one hit. He's had an odd inning with a couple of bases on balls and a hit batter, and now fires to O'Neill, who drives one in the gap in left center field. O'Neill will round first, go to second base, and he'll be in there with a double. O'Neill hit it deep to right center the last time up, and this time drives it the other way past Winningham, and the Reds start off the inning with a base runner. Fastball out over the plate and upstairs. Hit a changeup the last time. So Martinez challenged him, and it's one man that's got plenty of power, and you can't challenge him too much with those fastballs up. Bo Diaz stands in, 299 hitter. 0 for 1 tonight as he grounded to Tim Wallach. And with the game tied at 1, he'll be giving it a shot towards right field with nobody out. Pitch by Martinez, a breaking ball inside, ball 1.
He's having a career season.
Has an absolutely career season. He made the All-Star team and deserved it. And I'm more amazed than anyone. I did not give this man enough credit. He has really proved me wrong at the age of 34 to be doing what he's doing and having to catch every day. Another curveball by Martinez hangs inside, and the count 2-0. Martinez walked 2 in the third inning and hit Barry Larkin. The second walk forced in a run as Kurt Stillwell led off the inning, was sacrificed. Moved to stayed at second as Larkin was hit. Bell and Davis walked, and that's the run for the Reds. Here's Martinez working with a sinker down and away, and he misses, and the count 3-0. The Expos picked up a run in the first inning on a single by Kendall, a double by Wallach with 2 outs, and that's as far we are along with hits. Expos did pick up a hit in the third inning, but Raines was picked off. 3-0 pitch in for a strike, and Bo not even pretending that he was going to swing at the pitch, takes it. Looks down to Billy DeMars. Billy probably giving him the hit sign. Should have been on last time. 3-0 with a 299 hitter. And a good RBI man. Martinez works again. This one fouled right back into the glove of Reed, and now the count is full at 3-2.
Diaz actually came up through the Red Sox farm system and was traded to Cleveland. And I was just thinking of another former Red Sox catcher, Ernie Witt, with Toronto. So they've had a lot of people who've come up from.
And Sullivan will probably be next.
Well, maybe not.
Well, you know, it's tough. Nepotism they're calling, and everything else tough for that young man. The 3-2 pitch on the way. Ball hit down in the dirt towards second base, and Foley makes the play over to Galarraga, and that ball was not 3 inches off the ground. He just made up his mind he was going to defense it, and a good sinker by Martinez, and Bo just threw the bat at it and grounded to Foley.
Terrific effort, because he moved the runner over to third base on a very tough pitch, and he got the ball to the right side of the infield.
Well, I just don't understand a 3-0 pitch being taken. It just doesn't make sense, because you put your batter on the defense, and yes, he has had some control problems, but Bo is the type of hitter who's very patient and a very clutch hitter. Nick Osowski 0 for 1 with a .232 batting average. Now trying to get O'Neill in from third, and Dennis Martinez works with a fastball outside. The infield plays in. Outfield straight away. I guess you would call medium deep. They do respect his power, but the ball seems to hang up here, as evident by the Wallach double, which looked like it was going out of here and hit the top of the wall. Martinez into the windup. Fly ball hit the center field into the gap. They should have been playing him back off of the turf onto the wall, and another double in the inning for Nick Osowski, and a run scores O'Neill. Second double in the inning, and for Osowski, his 35th RBI. Didn't have to move him over to third base for that. Got the fastball up out over the plate. Big muscular first baseman hit it on a line, hit on the warning track, and bounced off the wall. It looked like the same replay we saw on the O'Neill play.
because it landed in the same place, and Winningham only had that to do.
And while it looks like every double has been up the captain left center off the same wall.
Seems to be the part of this ballpark where pitchers are trained to pitch, especially for the Montreal Expos. Because down the line at 325 is kind of home run territory. It sure gets to be big out in center. That 404 seems a lot longer. Here's Stillwell. Stillwell with a base hit tonight and came around to score the Reds' first run. Looks at a curveball on the outside part of the plate, ball one. Kurt, the switch hitter, started as a shortstop. Was up with the Reds at the age of 20 last year and has really turned things around just within a year. He is now the second baseman with Oster on the disabled list. Breaking ball down and in. Taken by Stillwell, called ball two. Reds lead it 2-1 here as O'Neill has come across the plate with one out here in the top of the fourth inning. Nice crowd on hand tonight. They have been drawing in the upper 20s, middle 20s. The last two nights has been 20 and 21. And now Martinez in his stretch works to Reed, grounded towards Galarraga. They have got Osaski in no man's land. That's not a force out. Oh, it's a line drive. That'll look like a ground ball from up here. Must look that way to Osaski. It's a double play as Galarraga caught it in the air and threw to Brooks to force him out. The Reds come up with a run on a couple of hits, and after 3.5 innings of play, it's the Reds 2 and the Expos 1.
And now, Jan Stevenson, Women's U.S. Open Golf Champion.
It was the 18th green, and in front of me, a sand trap the size of the Sahara. I hit my 3-iron, and the ball sailed. I held my breath, bit my lip, but when the gallery erupted in joyous screams, I knew the Open was mine. And that is what eating a Dove bar is like.
Oh, no way.
I mean it.
The Dove Bar stands alone in freezers everywhere.
Hey, that was a great answer you gave the professor. Where'd you learn all about computers?
In the Army?
You were in the Army?
Yeah.
And now they're helping pay your way through college.
How come you know so much?
How do you think I got here?
Qualify for the GI Bill and the Army College Fund, and you can earn over $25,000 for college. See your local Army recruiter for details.
What did you do in the Army?
Airborne?
You were airborne? You used to jump out of airplanes?
Paid for by the U.S. Army.
Mr. Goodwrench has the right tools available to care for your general.
It bounced on the dugout, top of the dugout. As we started the inning, Robinson started off with a curveball, missed for a ball, and then came back with another one, and Hubie out front. We talked about Barry Larkin swinging and losing the bat, almost getting Buddy Bell. This one, well, Dick, I have to think it's 110 feet, because if you move the base around, there's at least more than 90 feet from halfway to the Reds dugout, and this landed on top of the dugout, and that's even with third base. It might be 120. Maybe 120. The dugouts are nowhere near. Well, you know, Will Chamberlain's talking about the discus. Well, with that kind of distance, I think we've got to think about the discus for Hubie Brooks now.
The bat throw.
The
famed bat throw.
The Olympic bat throw. I tell you, it really made Hubie nervous. As soon as he let it go, he was just totally scared. I mean, he threw up both arms because he knew what a bat might do if it landed in the stands. He didn't care if it hit the Reds, but he knew that it was getting to the stands. He's back up there now, and Robinson will work with a 1-1 count. And another breaking ball popped up in the infield. It'll be a Saski's play. Moves over towards foul territory, and now the umpire calls it foul. It's an out, but some people like to think, is it fair or foul? And it is foul. One out in the inning.
You know, John, we talked about how damp it is here and how slippery. We saw a pitch get away, a curveball get away that hit a batter. We saw 2 bats go flying so far today. So I think there's definitely a situation here with the humidity.
Really is strange in here, and it works up quick. You don't think that you are, and then all of a sudden when you start looking at your shirt and your T-shirt as Galarraga stands in and looks at a curveball taken for a ball, you'd think, you know, it really is something here, and there's got to be something to it. But the fan and the air conditioning will be in next year, so. But you can come here in comfort. Robinson works quickly, and a breaking ball swung and missed at by Galarraga, and the count 1-1. The next inning is our hometown inning. Marty Brennaman of the Reds will join us in the top of the inning, and Roger Boulette of the Expos will join us in the bottom of the inning. And we'll get him to talk in English, hopefully tonight. 1 ball and 1 strike. Fastball outside, swung through and missed. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Yeah, Spanish. I will interpret.
That's right.
I think I could get away with it. Interpret a baseball game. Fastball hit towards right field. Parker drifting back. He'll just make the edge of the warning track and make the play, and there's 2 outs in the inning.
You won't have to do any interpreting for Marty Brennaman, one of the best in the business, and a guy that you've worked with many, many times.
I tell you, he really is. He is outstanding. And I'm just going to. I was going to say I was going to sit back and let him talk. He does that anyway.
Let him do what he's used to doing.
We do the television for the Reds. It's been a great pleasure working with a pro, and he is a pro. Here's Foley, and Foley 0 for 1. He was on board on an error by Nick Osaski. It was a fielder's choice error as he threw down the second base to try to force a Galarraga, and he threw the ball away. This ball hit well. It's going to curve foul.
I want to remind you folks to be with us at the end of tonight's game when we'll announce the great Gates belt, the big hit of the day. Gates, makers of great belts and hoses for your car. Marty and I had the pleasure of working the 1975 World Series.
I didn't know that.
For our respective team.
Change up down. And the count 2 balls and a strike. Jerry Crawford calling balls and strikes tonight. Greg Bonin, Bob Davidson, and Harry Wendelstedt. Off-speed breaking pitch over on a 2-1 count for something Foley wasn't looking for, and he takes it. And the count at 2-2. And on to Harry down at Simpson's downtown, shopping a little bit. He looks good. He said just get a little tired. Been around for 20-some years now. Breaking ball again. This misses wide, and the count is full. And he really must be worried about Foley's power. Foley has 2 home runs this year that he's throwing off-speed pitches. Now he challenged with a sinker down and away, and he strikes out swinging. So no runs in the inning, no hits, nobody left on. We go to the 4th inning with the score 2-1 Reds. We'll be back in just a moment. It's the top of the 5th and time for the hometown inning, sponsored exclusively by your True Value hardware store and the more than 6,000 True Value stores nationwide. We invite the announcers who travel with the teams all season long to join us and talk baseball. Roger Boulette of the Expos broadcast crew will be along in the bottom half of the inning. But right now with the Reds at bat, let's say hello to Marty Brennaman.
Thank you, John. Top half of the 5th.
Go for it,
absolutely.
Big guy.
2-1 the score. Reds out in front. A team that seemingly plays its best baseball after it falls behind, and tonight has been no different. They spotted the Expos a run in the 1st, tied it up in the 3rd, and the doubles in the 4th inning by O'Neill and Osaski get them out in front. Ronnie Robinson leads it off against his opposite number, Dennis Martinez. Robinson, a sacrifice bunt his first time up, and he goes the other way. Grounds one by the diving Foley at second into right field, a base hit. So the Reds get things underway as Ron Robinson takes matters into his own hands. An opposite field ground single to right. Hit number 4 of the night for Cincinnati. And it brings up shortstop Barry Larkin.
Marty, was interesting. I don't know if you had any comment about it. When he sacrificed the last time, the ball was definitely going foul.
No question. It's certainly a judgment decision, but I think Galarraga made a bad judgment in electing to pick the ball up as he did, right on the line. And, well, you take your chances. With the ball obviously going foul, you don't know what might have happened. It certainly set up the first run.
I guess he knows better than I how the turf will break.
Yeah, well, maybe he does, John. I don't know. We're going to get into this on the radio now, huh? Larkin down a strike as he swings and he misses. He was hit by a pitch in the 3rd. Martinez, normally an excellent control pitcher, but it took a vacation on him in that inning. He hit Larkin, and of course the Reds later on came up with a bases loaded walk to Eric Davis to tie the game up. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now Dennis Martinez, without question, the kind of pitcher that throughout the '87 season has certainly given the Reds more problems. The off-speed breaking ball pitchers as opposed to the hard throwers. But, Johnny, I think that was basically the case back in the so-called Big Red Machine decade.
It was.
Swung on ground ball third. Wallach quickly on to second for one. Foley turns it over, and that's the double play. 5-4-3. Tim Wallach, Tom Foley, Andres Galarraga. As the Expos turn their second double play of the night. And with 2 out and the bases empty, it brings on Buddy Bell. Why is that? The breaking ball as opposed to the power.
I think the big hitters are always looking for the fastball. I think that was the case in the 70s when we all were big hitters and everybody wanted to jump on it and they had no problems with it. Anybody that changes speeds on big guys usually are more effective. The idea is to try to get the batter off stride and off pace. And we want somebody to challenge us. We don't think anybody in those days could throw a fastball by it.
Buddy Bell has bounced to third. He's drawn a walk. He takes a fastball for a strike. I can remember Gary Nolan back in the mid-70s. Every time he teed it up against Pittsburgh, he just throws his glove out there, and there was no problem. Big breaking ball, a lot of off-speed stuff. Bell bounces to shortstop. Brooks charges, comes up throwing, and the inning is over. So after a leadoff single by Robinson, the Reds are done. They have the 2-1 lead at the end of 4.5.
Nice talking with you. Thanks
nice visiting with you.
As Marty said, after 4.5 innings, it's the Reds 2, the Expos 1.
Plaisir d'être avec toi.
Oui.
Your freedom for bat, 196 average, no home run, 8 RBI.
I was kidding that we hoped that you would do it in English. You really do it in French here.
Yeah, I do the whole broadcast in French. The first time I'm ever doing a broadcast in English. High and away, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Jeffrey est
un peu à l'extérieur. Jeffrey n'a pas battu par le prix.
Okay, he says Jeff Reed now at the plate. He's 2-0 as the count.
Robinson est prêt. Un grand gaillard. Maintenant, Reed qui demande un temps d'arrêt. Je trouve que c'est un peu trop lent.
Said Reed like to get a hit.
You're right, Johnny. He needs a hit. When you look at Jeff Reed catching-wise, he's been very good. But hitting lately, he has improved. This time he looks at a strike. 2 balls and 1 strike, Jeff Reed.
Well, he'll probably get a chance. Looking at Mike Fitzgerald's finger, that's got to be a concern.
It is a concern for management, Johnny, because he was operated over during the winter by Dr. Cogman. Third pitch outside, 3 balls and 1 strike to Jeff Reed. However, during the winter when he was back in California, he was operated on again by a doctor in California. And since then, it hasn't turned out too well.
A second opinion?
That's right. It didn't work out. Here's the pitch to Reed. Fly ball hit to Buddy Bell. Larkin is there. Finally, it's Bell who catches the ball in the fair territory behind third base.
I went to see a psychiatrist one time, and he said, "You're crazy." I said, "I want a second opinion." He said, "You're ugly, too."
They told me I was short. Martinez comes up the bat. Là, we're going to say one word in French. Dennis Martinez, cette année, a du succès comme lanceur, mais pas comme frappeur. Hasn't been hitting at all. Johnny, when you look at Dennis Martinez, last year he was on the mound. One game he was good, the other game he wasn't. Just really not that good. Ball is hit towards Saski. Catches the ball and off to first base, slowly for the second out. And when we think of a guy like Martinez, unbelievable the change this year of him on the mound with the breaking ball. It's changed completely for him.
And he's got more control. He's got more speed with it. I think the arm speed makes the difference, Roger. If you've got the arm speed, you've got a better breaking ball because the hand has to be strong. You have to snap through that. And that was Dennis's biggest problem, that he could not get on through that curveball. And right now, he has shown fine control on a Lee Wire type night. He was going to have a lot of strikeouts.
Yes, but not with Crawford behind the plate. It's not the same strike zone. Candell up at bat. When you talk to Casey Candell, Johnny, at spring training, everyone said he will not make the club. Forget about it. However, his manager at AAA last year, Joe Sparks, who had in the Reds organization, and Thompson of AA, both said Casey will make the team, will not have a position, but after 2 weeks, you won't be able to take him out of the lineup. And that's what's happened to Casey Candell. The ball is hit to right field. Parker has a long way to go. The ball falls. And here goes Candell to second. He's going around second, but the throw to the infield, a double for Casey Candell.
Not bad. Showing that power again. He was trying to go for 2 seats in the same season.
He and Willie Stargell. Stargell 583 feet, and he's at 326 feet. They both have a special seat. Herm Winningham comes up at bat. Winningham has had a great season since the month of May. He's just been hitting the ball to the opposite field. He and Bobby Wingles have worked a lot on changing his position up at bat. He gives a lot of credit to Manny Mota. Mota helped him a lot during the winter ball. He says he's changed his position, further away from the plate. He's been hitting the ball well. 28 RBIs for him is the most in one season.
His average has climbed. I didn't realize at 266. I was not paying that close attention to him, and he seems to be a happier ball player.
He seems to accept his role. Foul ball down the left field towards the stands.
Well, happier ball players are usually guys that are hitting better.
Just like broadcasters when they give us another year on the contract.
He just got 3 more years.
Isn't that just great?
It's terrific for him, and he's been a real good guy. He's just wonderful. He's in a great mood. He still won't pick up a check.
Oh, well, that's not too bad. When you talk of Buck Rogers, what do you think of Buck Rogers as a manager, Johnny?
Manager of the year.
Manager of the year?
Yeah. A lot of credit to Herzog, but he's done an unbelievable job.
High and away, 1 ball and 1 strike. When Jim Fry was here from the Cubs, he said if the Expos played over 500, they should build a monument here for Buck Rogers.
Absolutely. He handles these players, and we're talking about this lineup that he's put on the field tonight. And here's Candell, here's Winningham, here's Reed, and Curdy's out there, and he's moved people around, giving them the right days, and that's just as important as just putting the lineup down there and saying, all right, you guys play.
Here's the pitch to Hearns. Swing and a miss on the breaking ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Winningham. Tell you what, in English, first time in English doing a broadcast, Johnny.
I can see you're searching at times, but you're doing excellent. Unbelievable. And in fact, I'm going to tape this.
Oh, in French, it's not too bad, but in English, I'm saying, what is this? A ball and 2 strikes to Herb.
We got Dick back on the booth now, and Dick, this is in fact his first time ever broadcasting in English.
I heard some of it back there, and it's hard to believe.
Well, it is the Expos and the Reds, isn't it? Here's the pitch to Herb.
In English, we say Reds.
The Reds.
Rouge.
Les Rouges de Cincinnati. 2 balles, 2 prises, 2 retraits, Winningham, but the tying run is on second base.
Strange ball game last night. A very quick ball game. Wasn't strange. You just good pitching. At the back, strange things happening out there. Guys getting picked off, errors, hit batsmen.
Here's the pitch. Going away, we asked Wendelstedt at third base. He said no, it was a check swing. So Winningham with a 3 ball, 2 strike count. And at second base, Candell. Here I'm looking to say the compte complet. No, the full count. I'm looking for it.
Près deux.
3 balles, 2 prises. You should come with us in French, Johnny.
I would love to learn French. As soon as I learn English, I'm going to.
Here's the pitch. It's ball 4. Winningham goes to first. Candell is at second, and here comes Timmy Raines.
Let's pause 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the CBS Radio Network.
The time is 9:06 and 75 degrees in Rochester with partly cloudy skies. At the sports leader, 1180 WHAM, Rochester, New York.
And Timmy Raines is up at bat with a runner on second. Winningham on first. Speed on the bases, especially with Winningham at first base.
That should please Pete Rose. Walk Winningham to get to Tim Raines.
Especially when we look at Timmy Raines' stats. The pitch to Timmy. Strike, breaking burn on the left side corner. The Expos
now you just said strike on breaking ball on the outside corner. Now, would you do that in French? Say that.
La balle cassante au point extérieur, c'est une prise.
Yeah, but that's too long.
That's the problem.
What a melodious language. I'd rather hear it in French.
Robinson looks at the runners. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball just low and outside. A ball and a strike to Raines. And all of a sudden, Crawford is not happy with Robinson. And Crawford says, throw a strike, and I'll give you a strike.
Well, he said the ball's outside, and Crawford yanked that mid off, and Robinson threw up his hands and said, what's the problem? Where's the pitch? And Jerry Crawford's not the kind of guy you want to do that with. He's already mad at him for not calling the check swing. He was mad at Harry Wendelstedt, and now Scotty Breeden has had to go out.
Johnny, we've seen that with the Expos. Far grapple behind the plate. Not exactly a love affair. What can happen between the catcher and the umpire relationship?
Umpires don't like you.
Oh, that's a good...
They don't like anybody. Some umpires, not necessarily Jerry Crawford, but they just don't like you. I mean, they just don't. In fact, they love controversy to some extent. Not saying Jerry Crawford is like that. Some umpires, you just do not want to get on the wrong side of them, because as soon as you look at them the wrong way, it's history. I mean, that's a sad thing.
1 ball and strike to Raines. Crawford says the same thing. Alone away, ball 2.
never happened to us. Rick Ruschel was just shutting us down so bad in Chicago, and he didn't get a pitch, and he got mad, and he didn't get the next pitch, and he got so mad he started hollering at the umpire, and they kicked him out, and we beat him.
Raines hits the ball towards Saski. Easy play for Saski, the first base for the third out.
Hey, nice going. Merci.
Monsieur Johnny Bench, merci beaucoup. Et dans cette quatrième manche, aucun point pour les Expos. Les Reds qui mènent 2-1.
He said to say goodbye to you, too. This is the hometown inning, sponsored exclusively by your local True Value Hardware store and more than 6,000 True Value Hardware stores dealer. After 5 full innings of play, it's the Reds 2 Expos 1. We'll be back in just a moment. It's a no-no to Mr. Crawford, but he's still there. Martinez ready to go to work. Fastball in on his hands. Taken for a ball, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Davis at 319, 28 home runs. He picked up an RBI, his 72nd. And they pulled up. And into the crowd. Maybe I guess around 31,000 here tonight on a warm, sunshiny day in Montreal. St. Catherine Street was just loaded with tourists, and I was one of them. Took the subway out here, this fine facility, and it's just lovely to get in that kind of subway and come out and see a ball game. We're glad you're with us too. Ball grounded towards shortstop Brooks. He's got to hurry. Oh, Galarraga had to reach for it and landed flat on his face, but was able to keep his foot on the bag in the first out of the inning. Dave Parker, he's had his problems with Crawford as well, as he took a pitch on the inside corner with the bases loaded that Crawford rung him up on. He couldn't believe it. Didn't argue that long or that heatedly. He let go of the bat, just laid it on the ground, and he now stands in as Martinez prepares to bring the pitch in, and it's a fastball missed away. 1 ball and no strikes, as the Reds know that both their contending teams behind them have won today. San Francisco. And Martinez finally gets the right sign from Reed, and he goes to work. Big roundhouse breaking ball bounced in the dirt, but swung in by Parker, and the count at a ball and a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Reds lead 2-1 here, top of the 6th inning. Montreal, Quebec, Canada. With a new roof on. Quite a facility. As Martinez goes back to work in a high fastball foul practice. If you have not been up there to see it, it's worth coming out to see. There's a lot of things in Montreal worth seeing. The only way to describe this roof. Don't touch that silver. No. There's a ball fouled at the first baseline. We can't give you this innings off. Anyway, that's what it is. They've got, won't you count those around here, so many different cables they have attached to it. It goes into, it only took $118 million to put that roof on.
And they're happy because they can get their work in. They know the games are going to be played just as they do in Houston and all those other places, and it takes away a lot of the uncertainty.
And we can complain about the humidity, but I'd rather have this in the cool. Fastball up underneath the letters, and a pitch over the plate. Better pitch than the one he was called out on. They count 2 balls and 2 strikes. David Bowie will be here in August, so they really can't start on the air conditioning and all the other things until then, but it was miserable playing in this place with the rain and the cold. Now it's fine. 2-2. Pitch on the way, change up, and Parker didn't have to be told in. He headed for the dugout, tipped his bat to Dennis Martinez, and that's strikeout number 2, and both times Dave Parker has been caught looking. He looked straight back into the catcher's glove, and as he walked away, he pointed the bat like he was tipping his hat to him, to Martinez on the mound. And now Paul O'Neill, who started off the 4th inning with a double and came around to score the 2nd run, that put the Reds on top. Breaking ball by Martinez, over for a strike.
Games in progress in the American League. Kansas City leading Baltimore 2-1, playing the bottom of the 5th inning, and Oakland scored in the 1st against Milwaukee 1-0. Oakland after 1 inning in Milwaukee.
Martinez deals. Curveball hit wide of first. Galarraga up. Martinez covers the bag in a 1-2-3 inning. No runs, no hits, no errors. Nobody's left on after 5.5 innings of play. It's the Reds 2, Montreal 1. Montreal, Tim Wallach leads it off. Wallach 1 for 2 on the evening, a double, his 31st to tie Galarraga for the Major League lead. He stands in now, ready to face Robinson. It's the first pitch deep in the air to right center field. Anytime you see Davis start to pounce around and run sideways and slap the glove on his thigh, he's located it and is in control. That's what happened to Wallach, and the first out is recorded. So Robinson, in his 6th inning of work, Dennis Martinez, should they get down to it, probably would be lifted as Andy McGavigan starts to warm in the Montreal bullpen. And here's Hubie Brooks. Hubie has appeared in only 50 ball games this year due to some injuries and on the disabled list. Looks for the pitch outside for a ball, and Robinson not happy with some of the calls tonight. And Crawford not happy with Robinson, and he's standing out in front of the home plate area at the cutout. With his mask under his arm and his hat in his hand, and kind of in the dugout talking to him as well. It's not nice to fool Mother Nature. 1 ball and no strikes. Fastball down for a ball, 2 balls and no strikes. And right now, Robinson seems a little bit frustrated by Jerry Crawford, and that will not get it done. Here's Brooks trying to take advantage of it. Grounds one towards Larkin. He's over, up, and over to Saski for 2 outs in the inning. Robinson. He's had to make the transformation from the bullpen to the starting rotation. Long balls plagued him in Philadelphia. Dick mentioned earlier it's been since June 23rd since he had his last win. Galarraga looks at an outside pitch, and Rob Murphy warms up in the Reds bullpen. I think Pete Rose aware of the fact that his starting right-hander are a little disconcerted out there. And you can tell it the way he missed with that fastball upstairs. It's either lost some intensity or thinks he's under that lip. Fastball pops up in the air down the right field line. Parker will have room right at the foul line. He makes the play. 3 up, 3 down in the inning. We go to the 7th inning. And the score 2-1.
The top of the 7th inning against Dennis Martinez, who is allowed 2 runs on 4 hits. He's walked 2, struck out 2. Into his windup, and the first pitch to Bo is a slider missing outside, ball 1. He has his bounced out pitch tonight. Crowd of about 30,000 there. I'm seeing it right now, and I think it is at least 30. Fastball on the corner. 1-1 the count. On deck, Nick Lasavsky and then Kurt Stillwell for the Reds. Martinez looking for his 6th win in 7 decisions. We'll see him in Class A ball. Here comes his 1-1 delivery. And it's lined right at Brooks, the shortstop, for the first out. 1 down here in the top of the 7th inning, and that will bring up Lasavsky, who has right now driven in what would be the game winner. A double in the 4th inning to left center field, knocking in Paul O'Neill, who had led off the inning with a 2-base hit. Lasavsky now with 35 runs batted in on the year. Infield and outfield playing straight away. Fastball is fouled onto the on-deck circle for a strike. In the infield, virtually all of them are playing beyond that white line, signifying the back of the infield and the outfield. Martinez, 0-1. Took something off the pitch. It's foul tip. Big swing by Lasavsky. And the count is 2 strikes.
That was Nick's first hit in the 3-game series, 0 for 8. coming into tonight's game. He does have some holes, but he also has tremendous power. Make a mistake on him and you pay.
Martinez, slider missing outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Dennis got into trouble in the 3rd inning. He had control problems. He hit Larkin on 3-2 and then walked Buddy Bell to load the bases and then left Davis to force a run in. As the pitch rides outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. On the 2 bases in the 4th inning. He's been hit by 2 double plays tonight. Reds lead at 2-1. Here's the 2-2 pitch. And the breaking ball is outside, and the count is full, 3-2. 3-2 to Osowski. John, it's your humble opinion that Mr. Raven is finished for the day. I'm positive of it. 3-2 pitch is lifted high in the air to left center field, and it's Winningham back there, and he makes the catch for out number 2. Whatever happened to full hitters?
They can't get around on fastballs. We haven't had a ball. We had a couple of ground balls to Warlick, but we haven't had anything. Everybody's a gapper.
That's true. Eric Davis hit a fly ball to left field, but that was kind of left center field. And I don't think anyone has hit the ball in that direction. You're right.
Rob Murphy continues to warm, and Terry Francona has already moved out in the on-deck circle, whether Terry bats or not. I saw Ron Robinson hit with his glove under the tunnel.
Here's Stillwell. Takes ball 1 outside. Stillwell has a single and lined into a double play. He has scored one of the 2 Cincinnati runs tonight. Reds lead at 2-1. Here in the 7th, there's a breaking ball on the corner, 1-1. The total's 2 runs, 4 hits, 2 errors for the Reds. 1 run, 4 hits, and no miscues for the Expos.
1-1 pitch from Martinez. Breaking ball in for a strike.
This afternoon, the Giants beat the Cardinals 5-4. The Dodgers over the Cubs 7-2. And the Astros beat the Mets 7-5. Atlanta leading Philadelphia 2-0 after 7 innings.
1-2 delivery and a high pop-up left side of the infield. And the 3rd baseman, Jim Wallace,
makes the catch in a 1-2-3 inning. So Martinez has retired 7 straight hitters, and after 7 6.5 innings, it's 2-1 Reds.
He gave up a couple of doubles, but Robinson stands to be the winner if
the Reds can hold on and win. And Rob Murphy is the new pitcher for the Cincinnati Reds, and Murphy, out of the bullpen, a hard thrower, is making his 51st appearance of the year. He's won 4 and lost 3. Has an earned run average of 3.32 and 2 saves on the year.
That ties Frank Williams, and I'm not sure if McCulvey pitched in the ball game last night. That also is leads the league in appearances. The Reds with 2 players tied for the league in appearances. That tells you about the starting pitch.
Reed Nichols.
Nichols, center fielder normally, and played last night, hitting .258 with 3 home runs and 15 RBIs.
Former Boston Red Sox outfielder traded to the White Sox, takes the fastball for a strike.
Nichols
batting for Tom Foley. As the Expos trailing by a run.
Robinson was the right-handed man out of there, and then when they had to put him in the rotation, then they went to Williams. Frank was pitching with him. Exactly. Being a game of festivities in New York over the weekend. A big plus for the Reds. They hope that starts him.
Nichols fouls off a fastball. Reed is .258 on the year with 3 homers and 15 runs batted in and 1 for 10 as a pinch hitter.
Jeff Reed is on deck, and then Martinez. Ron Robinson 3-3 on the year, looking to pick up his 4th win. Murphy fires, fastball foul back, and Nichols hanging in there, trying to stay alive here. The only run by the Expos came in the opening inning. Casey Candell singled, and with 2 outs, Jim Wallace knocked him in with a 78th run batted in.
The Expos left 2 men on in the second inning. And 2 more in the 5th inning. Again, the 2-2 delivery bounces in front of the plate. And the count rides full. 3-2 the count to Reed Nichols.
This will be like a 2-inning stint for Murphy. That's all they want out of it. Over to Franco. They want to try to get through the bottom of the lineup and get somebody on. Has been somewhat productive for them. They had an opportunity in the second inning. Now Murphy trying to start it off for the Expos again.
Fastball again foul out of play, and so Nichols making Murphy work. Jeff Parrott, right-hander brought up from AAA, is now throwing into the Expo bullpen. 3-2 pitch misses inside ball 4, and Nichols draws the walk. So Nichols did his job. He hung in there and fouled off everything Murphy could offer, and finally draws a walk. And so the tying run is at first base with nobody out here in the 7th inning, and here's Reed. And Dave Engel has picked up a bat and is now in the on-deck circle and will presumably hit for Dennis Martinez. So Jeff Reed, who is 0 for 2, the batter, and Nichols on at first base. 2-1 the score. Safsky holds him on. Murphy, the left-hander, fires. Pitch punted out and taken for ball 1. Jackie Moore flashing the signs at third base for the Expos. Reed. Nichols with the lead. The next pitch is low. Reed squared around again and charging from the corners with Buddy Bell at third and Safsky at first. So the Expos trying to get the tying run in scoring position here. And Murphy trying to help them. Both of his pitches have been low. And Reed looking to bunt. Finally he does, but he fouls it back. 2-1. Looks like he's gotten some decent pitch. That was a decent pitch to bunt.
Well, he has to at 2-0. He cannot afford to go any deeper in the count. Of course, Reed had to absolutely make sure it was a perfect pitch that he should have gotten down. When you come into the game, you're only hitting in the 1. You're on that interstate. You better be able to bunt through other things.
2-1 pitch, and it's bunted. And Safsky makes the play to second in time for the 4th. Fine play by Nick Safsky.
Francona went in when they made the switch, when they brought in Murphy. I'm sorry I didn't tell you that if you noticed, but Francona had a double switch when they brought in Murphy. They put Murphy in Safsky's place, batting 7th, and Francona will bat 9th in the order.
Well, I'm glad you made that clear because Francona should get credit for a fine play and a good throw for the 4th.
It was a very questionable play, to say the least. He only bounced it down there, and it was such a close play. You cannot afford to do that. You've got to be able to make sure of that. In the late innings, you've got to make sure of an out when you get down this late in the game.
So now it wasn't a Safsky, and it wasn't a good play. I'm 0 for 2 right now. I'm going to try and square things around, though.
Speaking French.
I wish I could. Engel is batting for Martinez and takes a strike. So Reed is the base runner.
They're just announcing the change here in the booth, so it's not your fault.
Well, they got it third now. Pitch is outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. You got it first. You gave it to me, and now they have it. So Engel.
We're so far away from the field here, you're not sure who the players are. That's why we got good binoculars up here.
207 hitter is Engel with a homer and 7 runs batted in and 58 trips to the plate. 1-1 pitch is grounded foul into the Cincinnati dugout, and the count is 1-2.
Frank Williams starts to warm in the Reds bullpen. And the Montreal Expos have a little action down there. They will definitely have to bring somebody in, number 49, Jeff Parrott.
So Dennis Martinez.
7 innings of work as Engel fouls it back on the screen.
A ball and 2 strikes, 1 out. Montreal batting in the last of the 7th inning, trailing the Reds 2-1. Montreal maintaining their lead of 3.5 games over the San Francisco Giants, who won today over the Cardinals, and 4.5
over the Houston Astros, who beat the New York Mets today. So this is an important game for the Reds. Fastball again fouled back by Engel. Count holds it 1-2.
Murphy's into the computer business, basically, horse business using computers. His company is called M375. Strange sounding company name. But one day when playing around with the computer, his favorite horse, Seattle Slew, he had Slew up. When you turn Slew upside down, it comes out M375. And that's how he got his company. And he's into the horse breeding.
Changeup is lifted high in the air to left field.
Very strange story. 1-2 down.
O'Neill makes the catch.
That's why I thought you should know about it.
Yeah. It fits, in other words, right? Two down. Reed, the runner at first base.
Who's 2 for 3 with a single and double.
And scored the only Montreal run, and now hitting from the right side for the first time. And the switch hitter, who has done better as a right-handed hitter, 293 to be exact.
Takes ball 1 inside. 2 down, runner at first base. And Rob Murphy in relief of Ron Robinson,
who worked the first 6 innings and allowed a run on 4 hits and pitched well.
You would think Casey at 5'8" would walk more. He's only walked 29 times.
Foul ball.
In 324 at-bats. Actually, of course, you add those two, and the at-bats do not count here. It's 353 at-bats, and he's walked 29 times, and you would think that he is giving such a small target that he would present a problem. But his on-base percentage, 335, with a batting average of 275.
Pitch outside, 2 balls and a strike to Candel. He is the only Expo with more than 1 hit tonight. And in fact, the only hitter in the game with more than 1. But pretty much spread around, the 8 hits for both sides. 2-2 now to count to Candel. Reed on at first base, 2 down here in the 7th.
Came out early to see if Pete was going to hit today. He wasn't. He didn't anyway, unless he hit in the cage. I didn't see him do that, and then the way the coaches looked that he didn't hit. But
you think he's going to be
he's been
activated?
taking batting practice. I think he's building an awful good case that he can allow himself to get into the lineup.
Clubs really do.
Well, starting next week, they go into divisional play, interdivisional play. And that'll make up some difference, they hope. At least that's what the Mets are aiming towards. They're hoping that Aguilera and Cone can possibly get back. They've got better news on Leach. So their news is better, but can't give up ship right now. I think they're willing to back off.
2-2 pitch again fouled off. Nichols made Murphy work, drew a walk. He was forced, and now with 2 out, Candel is hanging in there, and Murphy's throwing a lot of pitches here in his first inning of relief.
Hits are even at 4 apiece, but the Reds lead at 2-1.
Checking the runner, here's the 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball inside, and the count is full 3-2. Herman Winningham is on deck for the Expos. Tying run at first base and Jeff Reed. Infield moves back. Runner goes 3-2, and the ball is rolled foul behind Jackie Moore, the third base coach.
Well, it's Hall of Fame time in Cooperstown. This is a big weekend for the likes of Catfish Hunter and
Billy Williams, and also for a colleague of ours, Jack Buck.
Our own Jack Buck, yes, and congratulations to him. I think they've got a special show tomorrow night for Jack. They're going to bring something. I think, in fact, they may be up there.
Well, Jack, one of the great, not only baseball announcers, but all-around broadcasters in the business. Runner goes at 3-2, and a slow hit chopper to shortstop. Larkin charges, the throw to Francona, safe at first base. Candell beat it out. Larkin charged, but Candell had too much speed for him, and so he's safe at first on an infield hit. And now with 2 down, the Expos have the tying run at second. The go-ahead runner at first, with Herman Winningham coming to the plate. And now we're going to see a pinch hitter come out. Be 1-2. So Murphy wants to make sure he takes care of Mr. Webster here with Raines on deck in a 1-run ball game. One and two, 2 down. Here's the pitch to Webster. Check swing, just misses inside. 2-2. Johnny, when are you eligible?
Well, they could vote after the season next year, so if I were to be elected, the first time I could possibly go in would be 2 years from whatever, this week.
Well, you should go in with a big U, the unanimous, and so should Mr. Yastrzemski.
That doesn't work like that.
Ground ball up the middle, base hit, center field. Coming around to score is Reed to tie the game. Going to third is Candell, and Mitch Webster has tied it up for the Expos with a pinch hit single, and he's perfect 3 for 3 this year as a pinch hitter. And we have a new ball game.
Good job by Webster, and good choice by Buck Rogers, who's been pushing all the right buttons. Candell goes all the way around the third, and well, there was no reason that ball couldn't be caught. It went right underneath the glove of Murphy.
And Pete Rose is coming out. And that'll be all for Murphy. And he's going to go with the right-hander Williams. So Rob Murphy trying to save things for Mr. Ron Robinson in a 2-1 lead. Can't get the job done. Second appearance of the year. And that right now would give him the lead in the National League in games appeared. Robinson of the Giants and Jacoby also had 51 appearances until now. And they did not make an appearance in tonight's game. So Williams takes over the National League lead in appearances. He has 1 save. His record is 1-0 at 2.53 earned run average in 67 2/3 innings. He's facing Tim Raines, who's batting left-handed against the right-handed Williams. First pitch is outside, ball 1. So Williams, a side armor, even perhaps a submarine pitcher, effective against right-handed hitters, but against the left-handers, different story.
Done a real good job thrust into the role of the right-hander in the bullpen.
1-0 pitch, check swing in there for a strike, 1-1. To short, an infield hit. He beat it out, and then Mitch Webster tied the game with a single to center field. Candell going to third. 1-1 to count, 2 down. And the pitch rides inside on Raines, 2-1. So the Expos have the lead right at third, facing Candell. The score. The Expos have now hit the red 6-4. The pitch is favored to complete backfield, and that evens the count at 2-2. Yeah, we'll be excited about this. Great Billy Williams, the first pinch hitter, and Dandridge, but out of the Hall of Fame, extra member, and the Jack Truck. So,
Congratulations to all representatives of that plan. And Jack said, I cry. What did he say? I cry. He had a great quote. He said, I cry at, I don't know, when they introduced me in the lineup or something. He said,
he cries at everything.
He said, I'll be emotional.
He will be. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch, and it's a drive to left center field. Back goes O'Neill. He's there and makes the catch for the 3rd out. Tim Raines gave it a ride to the opposite field to retire the side, but the Expos tie it up. And as we go now to the top of the 8th inning, the score is 2-2, and we'll be back in just a moment. Mitch Webster, who drove in the tying run, goes in at right field, and the new pitcher is Jeff Parrott. So Dennis Martinez worked 7 innings, allowed 2 runs, 4 hits. He walked 2 and struck out 2.
you get all the changes?
I sure did, and I got him.
You got Nichols in center?
I just did. Nichols in center field.
You know, you want to be a manager
Or an analyst or something.
Yeah, that's good. Right move. You know, you just got to make those right moves. He did it last night, and he's going to put the best defensive ball club on the field that he can. Last night, it was Nichols who came out and Winningham who went in, and tonight it's just the opposite.
Francona will lead off. John mentioned in that double switch he batting in the number 9 slot, so Francona will bat in the 9 position. So the former Montreal Expo and the son of Tito Francona. Jeff Parrott, the pitcher for the Montreal Expos, and for Parrott, making his 18th appearance of the year, has 3 saves, the 2-3 mark at 3.42 earned run average. He has walked 13 and struck out 25. First pitch to Francona, misses, ball 1. Barrett is a hard throw.
Francona had a home run in his first game of the year. Takes a strike inside. And with the 3 RBIs since that time, it's been few and far between. He hit a home run off Dennis Martinez, went 2 for 3 and didn't get a start against him. He now has 2 home runs and 8 RBIs.
Takes the ball 2-1.
That's what Pete's talking about his pinch hitters. O'Neill, 5 for 25, McClellan 3 for 17, and Francona 5 for 24.
Swings and hits a drive to right field, may carry, and it does. A home run for Terry Francona, and the Reds regain the lead 3-2. So he comes back and bites the hand, doesn't he?
Doesn't he? That second home run. I've got to find out. This may be his 3rd home run of the year, and it may be his 3rd home run against the Montreal Expos. And he has the happiest man in the world because they are very, very close. They are very, very close friends. And you want to take a look at it? Montreal, Montreal, Montreal. 3 home runs, all against his former team.
Makes it all worthwhile. 3rd home run of the year. All against the Expos, and Francona keeps the Reds a 3-2 lead, and swinging is Larkin at the first pitch and lifts a fly ball, and the center fielder Nichols has it in right center field for the first out.
But the crowd that has been really all hepped up over Montreal's rally in the bottom of the 7th inning have been crowded considerably as Terry Francona lands the line shot.
About 25 feet fair into the stands at right field, well over the 12-foot wall. So it's 3-2 in favor of the Reds here.
And there's 1 out, and the batter is Buddy Bell, and he takes
Larkin had reached base once by virtue of getting hit by a pitch back in the 3rd inning. 2 balls and no strikes now to Bell. Fastball missing. And on deck is Eric Davis.
Pitch by Parrott, lifted high in the air to center field. Practically in his tracks, Reed Nichols makes the catch, and there are 2 down.
A lot of right-handed relievers out of the Montreal bullpen. A lot of lookalikes. Sinclair, Burke, Parrott, all with similar type pitches, and it usually goes with an organization. It starts early in the minor leagues when you have an established minor league pitching coach who teaches you the basics of pitching. That's how you get to the major leagues, and they all start looking alike for certain teams.
Here's Eric Davis with 2 out. Right-handed batter against right-handed pitcher, takes low ball 1. Davis is 0 for 2, but walked with the bases loaded, and in turn picked up his 77th run batted in of the season. Goes after a pitch in the dirt, misses 1-1. Davis has hit safely in 22 of his last 27 starts. Fastball inside, 2-1 to it. Terry Francona with a home run to untie the game. Reds lead at 3-2. 2 down. 2-1 pitch. Line to right center field. Chasing it is Webster. Makes the catch for the third out. Davis hit it hard to the opposite field, but Webster was right there, and the side is retired. Francona's home run gives the Reds the lead 3-2 after 7.5. Coming up in the bottom of the 8th inning in Tim Wallach, who is 1 for 3 with a double and an RBI. Right-handed hitter facing Frank Williams, and the submarine delivery is hit deep to left field, way back, and this game is tied again. Home run number 13 and RBI number 79 for Tim Wallach. And the Expos knotted up again at 3 apiece on a deep drive home run to left field by Tim Wallach, leading off here in the 8th.
Looked for one pitch, got it in his zone. Right up about the belt, just below it. He turned on it.
And here's Hubie Brooks 0 for 3. So the crowd's buzzing again. Sidearm fastball in for a strike. Wallach with a double and a home run and 2 runs batted in. Now 79 on the season. Pitch misses, 1-1. Went into the game 3rd in RBIs in the league. 5 behind Andre Dawson. Wallach picked up a pair. Now back on the screen, 1-2.
What a year for Eli. What he goes by here in Montreal, anyway, as far as the clubhouse the field is concerned. Not productive as we thought he might be with the home runs with only 13, but the doubles and everything else still add up to a lot of RBIs.
And the ball is lifted into short right field for a base hit by Hubie Brooks. Takes the big turn. First base has to dive back as Parker fires back in. So Brooks reaching out and serving the base hit into short right field. And now the Expos have the lead run at first. Nobody out still here in the 8th inning. And it'll bring up Andres Galarraga, who's 0 for 3, reached on an error, and twice has lifted fly balls to Parker and right.
Excellent hitting by Brooks. Really battled him well. The ball outside really just threw the head of the bat out and got him, and he's got a little smile for Francona, who just a few minutes ago was filled with adulation, thinking, wow, I have the game-winning RBI, and it took one swing to take that away, and now he's talking to another base runner with nobody out.
Hit by Williams inside and hits the batter. Galarraga is hit by the pitch. And now the Expos will have runners at first and second as Brooks goes to second. Galarraga on at first base, still nobody out. And the Expos are staging here a rally after trailing 3-2. And a conference at the mound as Breeden goes out to talk to Williams, and everyone joins the conference. And while they do, let's pause 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves to give them the lead. But Kent Tecove came in the 9th inning for the Phillies tonight, and that also was his 52nd appearance of the year. So Tecove and Williams are tied for the league lead. Here's Jeff Reed, who scored the second and tying run at the time in the 7th inning. He is 0 for 3 on the night. Hit into a 4th play on 2 occasions. Takes a strike from Williams. Williams, the 3rd Cincinnati pitcher. Ron Robinson worked 6 innings, gave up a run on 4 hits. Rob Murphy in 2/3 gave up a run on 2 hits. And now Williams, he has given up the run. Home run to Wallach, and is responsible for the men on base, of course. 0-1 pitch. just misses outside with the breaking ball, 1-1. Expos scored in the opening inning. The Reds got single runs in the third and the fourth. And Montreal tied it in the seventh. Francona homered, and then Wallach homered. We're tied at 3. Little jackknife action by Reed, and the count is 2-1.
Well, he worked on such a good pitch on the outside corner and didn't get it. Then he tried to have to force that breaking ball. He cannot lay it on the outside and let it work towards the middle. He's got to force it to go in, and hopefully the hitter will be swinging at that pitch, swinging over the top of it. He got himself in a tough position after giving up that leadoff.
To the stretch, the 2-1 pitch, fastball swung on and missed. And not a very good swing at that by Reed. 2-2, and on deck.
Waiting with his jacket on.
Looking at the replay, really had the bottom fall out of it. No wonder he started to swing at it, and then it disappeared.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball just misses outside, 3-2. And Jerry Crawford.
Robinson, he shouldn't have hollered at him.
3-2 with 1 out. Brooks is at second, Galarraga at first. And Larkin trying to keep the run of first at second. Run to Larkin, flips the second for 1. The throw to first, double play. And a great play made by Kurt Stillwell, who is shaken up for the moment at second base and now gets up. And I tell you, Galarraga took him out of the play. Stillwell went high into the air and yet made the pivot, and the throw was high. But it was just in time to bring him and the fan is retired. But Wallach ties the game, and after 8 full innings of play, it's the Reds 3 and the Expos 3. We'll be back in just a moment.
You got the battle start. Boy, he got taken out by 225 pounds of first baseman that had gotten down there on the run and got him, and really did not roadblock him like he could have. He really would have been illegal. What he was fortunate enough to do was he went after him. He got him high. He got him right around the top of the thighs, and Stillwell was laying flat on his back, and he looked up and said, "Am I still here?"
He got up in a hurry once he knew he was still here.
All right. Dave Parker leading off in the 9th inning is 0 for 3. Twice has been caught looking. But he's facing Jeff Parrott for the first time. Infield and playing deep and around to the right. Outfield is deep for Parker, who fouls it down the right field line. Strike 1. Parrott is 25 years old, will be 26th in August, and native of Lexington, Kentucky. Right-hander started the year in AAA. Was 0-1 last year for Montreal briefly in 12 games. Parker looks at a breaking ball, and it's 0-2. O'Neill and Diaz to follow here in the 9th inning. The game that's had just about everything. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Parker. Takes it low and just inside, 1-2. Dennis Martinez started, pitched 7 innings, and Parrott in relief for the Expos. Into the windup, the 1-2 pitch inside with the fastball, 2-2. So a dramatic 8th inning. Terry Francona led off with his 3rd home run of the season and 3rd against the Expos to give the Reds the lead, and then it was short line. Swung on and missed. Parker strikes out for the 3rd time, but for the first time swinging.
Good pitching by Jeff Parrott. He's shown 2 different breaking balls. One goes away from the right-hander, almost like a split finger, and this one that goes down and in. And he threw it a couple of times. He had him out front the whole time. This time he just took a little bit more after he busted the fastball in. Good pitching effort.
1 out, and here's Paul O'Neill. Was 1 for 3, has a double and scored a run. Been up only 62 times for the Reds. Fastball up high, 2 balls and no strikes.
3 runs, 5 hits, 2 errors for the Reds. 3 runs, 8 hits, no errors for the Expos. Parrott and Frank Williams are the pitchers of record now. 2-0 pitch on the corner, 2-1. Martinez.
Well, after Parrott gave up the home run to Francona, he retired the next 3 hitters and has the first 2 here in the top of the 9th inning. And now will face the Cincinnati All-Star catcher Bo Diaz, who's 0 for 3. Last time up line to Hubie Brooks at shortstop. Dave Collins is swinging about in the on-deck circle as Diaz swings and misses for a strike. So if Diaz can keep it alive, Collins will come up. Pitch is low, 1-1. Of course, Pete Rose in position to use Franco as ace reliever in a tie ball game or a lead. Took something off that pitch, and Diaz went after a pitch up out of the strike zone and fouled it back 1-2.
He's already used his 2 best ones set up this supposed victory for him, for his ball club, and Franco, probably about the best he'll go is 2 innings. And should Bo get on, as you said, Collins would be there.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Diaz. We're in the 9th inning of a tie game. Here's the pitch, breaking ball in the dirt, and they wanted to appeal to first base umpire Greg Bonin, and the appeal is turned down. It'll go as a ball, 2-2. Boy, Jeff Reed just popped out of the box quickly to appeal that pitch.
Well, he did it, and then Rogers right now hollering at Bonin, and Bonin was making this big deal of walking, and he just got thrown out. They just threw Buck Rogers out of the game.
And now Rogers comes out of the dugout to protest. And the other umpires are going to help young Greg Bonin. Buck Rogers still arguing with the first base umpire. And now Harry Wendelstedt. Crew chief walking Rogers out of there. And Buck Rogers out of there.
The only thing he hasn't gotten all night. That call from the umpire.
Parker is struck out. O'Neill is fly to center field. Back to business as Parrott steps on and looks in. The break-even pitch. He struck him out swinging. And the Reds are out in order in the 9th inning. 2 8 1/2. Cincinnati 3, Montreal 3.
Oh, and the new left fielder, Dave Collins, replaces Paul O'Neill. For Franco, this will be his 42nd appearance of the year. He's won 6 and lost 3 with a 130 earned run average. In 48 1/3 innings, he's allowed 31 hits. Has struck out 31 and has walked 14. So Frank Williams, an inning and a third. He allows a couple of hits, struck out 1, hit a batter, and a 1 run. Franco becomes the 4th pitcher used by Pete Rose tonight. So the Expos will send up a pinch hitter. And it's going to be Wallace Johnson, who hit for Jeff Parrott. So Franco is ready, and here's Marty.
Okay, one of the 3 available bats on the bench coming on to hit for the pitcher, Jeff Parrott, as Joe mentioned. Wallace Johnson, right-handed batter. Johnson hitting .235 with 5 RBIs and a home run. He has done an excellent job off the bench. In fact, is the leading pinch hitter on the Expos team, 11 for 34 with a home run, and all 5 of his runs batted in. So Johnson, Candell, and Webster against Johnny Franco, who delivers to the plate and a ball outside. Frank Williams, who had a chance to gain his 2nd victory, could not hold the lead.
He works an inning and 1/3, gives up 2 hits and a run with a strikeout and hit a batter. 1-0 pitch. Swing and a foul. Johnson evens the count at 1 ball, 1 strike with a foul back. Jeff Parrott works 2 innings, allows 1 hit, the home run to Francona, struck out a couple. Pitch. That is hit to the right side, and Stillwell catches a pop-up, moving toward first base. Now Casey Candell, who's just worn out the Reds in this ball game. He singled in the first inning, was robbed of what would have been a 2-run single on a fine play back at second by Stillwell to retire the side in the second. He pulled a double to right in the 5th inning and beat out an infield hit to shortstop in the 7th. So the previous folks had not had a whole lot of success getting the little guy out. Let's see how Franco fares. Ball 1. That is in the air to right center field, but Parker will catch it with no problem for the second out. And now Mitch Webster, who's facing the 7th off the bench, allowed the Expos to force into
and right now we are sitting at 24 degrees Celsius. You can change your lazy checking account from this to this, and you can do it with Scotia Power Checking. A power checking account earns interest every day on every dollar. The more you have a deposit, the more interest you earn. Keep a minimum monthly balance of $500 in Scotia Power Checking, and there's no charge for checks and withdrawals. So if your checking account is like this, then Scotia Bank now about making it like this.
Single way back in the 3rd, after which he was promptly picked off by Ron Robinson. He's flied out, he is grounded out, and he's flied out again. Both times his fly balls have been to left field. Webster with base-stealing speed, leading at first as the pitch is taken. The ball is pops out of the middle of Diaz. Should they be so daring as to start Webster? He has stolen 19 bases in 25 attempts. He's a winning run with 2 outs. Pete Rose forced to go to his ace, John Franco, before the Expos have to go to theirs, and Tim Burke, who we saw pick up a save last night. They're helping Collins out in left field, placing him in the proper position, swinging a miss. 2 guys who were teammates on the National League All-Star team now going to war here in the bottom half of the 9th inning of this game 3 of the series. One ball and a strike. Webster with a lead at first. Franco.
Outfielders are bunched toward the middle. Runner doesn't go, and a check swing. 2 balls and a strike. Pitch outside. Wallach is on deck for the Expos, and he has done some damage tonight with a double and a home run. Franco facing the tough Tim Raines.
with the speedy Webster at first.
He's going to be running.
Doesn't go, and the ball is hit out to center field, and it may drop. It does. Base hit. Holding at second base is Webster, as Eric Davis runs the ball back practically to the infield, and so Rain hits safely for the second time, and Webster moves to second. So the potential winning run now is in scoring position with 2 out, and Tim Wallach, the batter.
That's really surprising. That ball was flared in there with 2 outs. Webster had to know the ball was going to bounce in the air, and I cannot possibly believe that he's still standing on second base. That's a lot of respect for the way Eric Davis plays center field, his speed and great arm. But with 2 outs, you're leaving with the crack of the bat, and it was nothing but a flare. And you've got to take that chance. The one thing you don't want to do is make the third out at third base. Make absolutely sure. He may have picked up Jackie Moore. I wasn't watching that. But at the same time, very surprising he's still there.
So here's Wallach with a double and a home run, 2 RBI. Looks at a fastball outside. 1 ball and no strikes.
Dave Collins has gone into play left field, and that really is a disadvantage to the Reds defensively, because his arm not nearly what O'Neill's was or Tracy Jones, and ball hit that way, Webster would probably score.
And a bounce at third. Buddy Bell will make the force at third just in time, ahead of Mitch Webster, and that'll end that threat. But Montreal gets 2 hits and leaves 2. And the score after 9 innings of play, it's the Expos 3 and the Reds 3. Expos is Tim Burke, and Burke with a record of 2-0 and a 1.65 earned run average leads the staff with 9 saves and picked up 1 last night.
Yeah, they're staffed by a committee almost. 8 saves for Parrott, 8 saves for McGaffigan, 6 for St. Clair.
We're in the 10th inning, and Dave Collins, who went into play left field, takes ball 1. Collins, a switch hitter, hitting left-handed, and he's hitting only 182, but up only 11 times. Takes the pitch low. Collins has always had the reputation of good speed and is for the manager for Major League clubs for that reason.
Yeah, had a base hit, wasn't credited to him the other night, and he said, I was feeling strained. I said, you're not on your back foot enough. And he said, you got a base hit. He sent a guy upstairs all the way from the locker room telling me thanks.
Takes a fastball for a strike, 2 balls and 1 strike. To Tim Burke, the third pitcher. Through the Expos. Into the windup, the 2-1 delivery, a line to left field, and it's going to play for a base hit. And Collins has the base hit. And the Reds have the go-ahead run here in the 10th inning on at first with nobody out. Only the 6th hit of the ball game for Cincinnati. And it'll bring up Kurt Stillwell. And right now, let's pause 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the CBS radio network.
The time is 10:32 currently in Rochester and western New York. Scattered showers and 72 degrees. You're listening to the CBS Game of the Week on the Sports Leader, 1180 WHAM, Rochester, New York.
Johnny Bench in the 10th inning, and Stillwell squares around and bunts in front of the plate. Reed's only play is to first. In time, covering is Candell, and moving to second base on the sacrifice is Collins. So a perfect sacrifice by Stillwell. 2-4. And Collins is in scoring position with 1 out. And now Francona, who delivered a home run blast into the right field seats in the 8th inning at the time to give the Reds a 3-2 lead.
Tim Burke, not a strikeout pitcher, but evidenced by the 1.65 ERA. He certainly is a solid reliever, and he's going to throw your sinker slider. Last night, he got 3 up and 3 down in the 9th inning, about 2 balls back to him, and then he got Bo Diaz on a strikeout looking. He is solid throughout this lineup, and they're going to go ahead and walk Francona.
Francona will be walked intentionally, creating the 4th play. First base open, and they'll pitch to Barry Larkin. One thing Burke has done effectively is he can keep that ball down, and it served him well.
So they're not taking any chances with Francona, of course, and they'll pitch to Larkin, the right-handed batter. So trotting down to first base, Terry Francona. On at second base is Dave Collins with 1 out. And Barry Larkin, the hitter. Larkin is 0 for 3. Reached base once when he was hit by a Martinez breaking ball in the 3rd inning on the shoulder. Fly to center twice and bounced into a double play. So Barry Larkin with 1 out, and the Reds runners at first and second here in the 10th inning of a 3-3 affair with the Expos. To the belt goes Burke. Fastball right down the pipe for strike 1. Martinez worked 7 innings, gave up 2 runs on 4 hits. Parrott worked 2 innings, gave up a run on 1 hit, and that, of course, was the home run by Francona. Second baseman Candel edging toward second to keep Collins close. Now he moves back to his normal spot. Fastball, broken bat, 1 hopper to Wallach at third, over to second for 1. They turn it over for the double play. Round the horn, does it for the Reds in the 10th, and after 9.5, it's still the Expos 3 and the Reds 3. Here at Olympic Stadium in Montreal with the Reds and the Expos tied at 3. And Montreal sending up Hubie Brooks, Andres Galarraga, and Reed Nichols against John Franco, the 4th pitcher of the night for the Cincinnati Reds. The Expos, by the way, are 5-1 in extra inning games. 3-1 here at Olympic Stadium, and the Reds are 7-4 in extra inning games, and they've won 5 and lost 2 on the road in extra inning affairs. Of course, the Reds have a better road record than home record anyway.
Yeah, but they're one of the only teams in the Western Division that has a winning edge in both. Not by a wide margin. That's kind of,
they're like 1 over at home.
Since Houston finally got over 5, or not even back to 500. Ball outside, and San Francisco is 1 game over 500. So it would be impossible for that to happen, wouldn't it? Mental midget.
Here's the 1-0 pitch to Brooks, and it's lifted out to right field. Parker has a run. He's there and makes the catch for the first down. Parker was playing Brooks deep in right field, but he caught up with it, and there's 1 gone here in the bottom of the 10th inning. And here's Galarraga, who is 0 for 3 officially tonight. He's been on base twice, once on an error, and the other time when he was hit by a pitch. 3-3 the score. Galarraga with 65 RBIs, swings and misses, strike 1. Nichols waiting to hit for Montreal. Here comes Franco back. Swung on and missed. The pitch low and away. And the count, no balls and 2 strikes to Andres. Working quickly is Franco, and just getting a piece of it as Galarraga fouls it back on the screen. Cincinnati Reds coming in with a 52-45 record. And a ball, great stop by Buddy Bell, off balance throw, not in time. Would have been a sensational play. In fact, it was anyway, even though Galarraga is safe. Buddy Bell went to his right like a shot on the ball, hugging the line, fell down and made an off balance throw, blind throw that was right on the mark, but not enough on it to catch Galarraga.
That was incredible. That was just totally incredible. That's 30 feet behind the bag, 35 feet. He dove at the line and threw because he couldn't get up in time, and only the good speed of Galarraga got him to first base.
It's amazing that the throw is right on the bag. In any event, Galarraga is on at first base. That's the 3rd hit off of Franco. And here is Reed Nichols. Takes a breaking pitch up and in. And Nichols pinch hit in the 7th inning and walked.
And he struck out his last trip.
Nothing surprises me after seeing Buddy Bell for the last couple of years. And, of course, another Golden Glover over at third really should be Tim Wallach. In fact, I think he was last year.
Fastball in for the strike, 1-1.
I guess I could look it up, but I believe that's right. He finally won that deservedly. So, well, it's a toss-up as far as I'm concerned between he and Bart, and of course, Smitty always has his years.
1-1 pitch, foul back on the screen. Good fastball by Franco. Ball and 2 strikes. 3-3 to score. Third game of the series. They're 1-1. Andy McGaffigan is up again and throwing in the Montreal bullpen. Left-hander throws, 1-2 pitch and a pop-up. Second baseman Stillwell is there, and he makes the play for the second out.
Wallach did earn a Gold Glove for defensive excellence in 1985. Then Schmidt went back to third base.
And took care of that. How to bring up Jeff Reed with 2 out and Galarraga on his first base. Reed is 0 for 4 tonight, so he was safe on a 4th play and scored one of the Expo runs. Last time up, bounced into a double play. Left-handed hitter facing a left-handed pitcher, John Franco. In a 3-3 game, bottom of the 10th. Atlanta beat Philadelphia 2-1 tonight. Palmer over Hume, and Garber picked up his 9th save. Franco to the stretch. Checks Galarraga. The first pitch is in for a strike. Pittsburgh and San Diego, they're just getting underway in about 10 to 15 minutes. Houston over the Mets 7-5. It was the Dodgers 7, the Cubs 2, and Giants 5, Cardinals 4. Swung on and missed on a good fastball again by Franco, and he's ahead of Reed, 2 strikes. Expos have out-hit the Reds 11-6, but we're all even. Galarraga on at first base, held on by Francona. The stretch, the look, the pitch outside. Throw to second. The runner on a delayed steal is out at second base to retire the side. So now we'll move to the 11th inning. Now the Olympic Stadium a bit clear. And a man has left the field. Still tied at 3. Let's bring you up to date on the American League scores. The Boston Red Sox beat the Seattle Mariners 11-5 as Bolton beat Clark. And Sam Horn came up from the minor leagues, the guy who replaced Bill Buckner and hit a home run.
Didn't take him long. He had amazing credentials in the minor league.
Yep. Gedman and Burks also homered for the Red Sox. Minnesota Twins beat the Toronto Blue Jays 13-9 with a 7-run 6th inning. Schatzeder beat Musselman. The White Sox beat the Yankees 3-2 as Searage beat Clemens. Detroit over California 5-4. Ken Gibson hit his 13th home run in that game, among others. It was Texas 7, Cleveland 3, and Convilla had his 18th home run. And number 24 for Carter for the Tribe. Tonight, Baltimore came back and beat Kansas City 4-3. Saberhagen losing for only the 5th time is 15-5.
The Orioles won again? Did you say that?
They won again. I did say it, and they did do it. 11 straight. They beat Saberhagen. And Oakland with 5 in the 4th inning. The Athletics lead the Milwaukee Brewers 6-2. Young and Knutson on the mound in that one. Brings you up to date in the American League. Bringing you up to date here in Montreal, we're in the 11th inning, where the Reds and the Expos are tied 3-3. It's been a close, tight ball game throughout. No team has had more than a 1-run lead in this. They were tied at 2. Francona gave the Reds a 3-2 lead briefly in the 8th inning with a leadoff homer before Tim Wallach homered to tie it up in the 8th, and that's the way it's been since. Buddy Bell leading off is 0 for 3 with a walk against Tim Burke, and he takes the bit low ball 1. It'll be Bell, Eric Davis, and Dave Parker against Tim Burke, the 3rd Expo pitcher of the night.
Burke working out of the stretch, as he does so often out of the bullpen. With men on base, fires a strike, 1-1. Infield is playing back, well back for Buddy Bell. And the outfield is straight away. Here comes the 1-1 pitch from Burke. Low again, 2-1.
The only park in the major leagues that Buddy Bell has not homered in. And he hit a couple of balls hard last night. I'm sure after that diving play, he may be thinking of heroics for his young son, 8 years old, in the dugout.
2-1 pitch inside, 3-1. Well, I know that it would be a most timely round tripper if Mr. Bell were to connect for the first time here at Olympic Stadium. 3 balls and 1 strike. Time called. Bell steps out. Eric Davis is on deck. Well, this may be the best opportunity for the Reds, having the heart of their order coming up now. 3-1 pitch and a bounding ball to third on a big hop is Wallach. Makes the play over to Galarraga in time, and there's 1 away here in the 11th inning. So here's Eric Davis, who's 0 for 3 with a walk, but that walk came with the bases loaded in the 3rd inning to force in a run. And Davis now with 77 runs batted in, hitting .317 now. A game in which Eric Davis and Tim Raines have been relatively quiet. Raines with a couple of hits, a couple of singles, and Davis with the base on ball. Gaffigan continues to throw in the Expos bullpen. Pitch to Davis, and he fouls it back out of play. Strike 1. Oh, and 1 to Eric Davis. .28 home runs is second to Jack Clark of the Cardinals, who has 29. Here's the 0-1 pitch, and it bounces all the way back to the screen.
Well, Jeff Reed pounding his glove down on the right corner of the plate, telling Burke, bounce it, get your curveball down, hoping that he would chase it. He bounced it, and then everybody seemed to be upset.
Boy, you just can't please everybody.
Want to come back with it, too.
1-1 delivery. Fastball. Right down the middle for a strike. Right-hander Bill Landrum is throwing for Cincinnati. And the Reds already tonight have used 4 pitchers. And it seems that they seem to use 5 pitchers in almost every game every time you look at a box score.
Yeah, Johnny Holstaff goes out there.
Here's the 1-2 to Davis. Check swing, pitch just inside. Burke wanted that. But the count now is 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes to the right-handed hitting Eric Davis with Dave Parker on deck. And the pitch, it's a fastball, just misses, and Burke a little frustrated right now because he's missed inside and then just outside. That's the way Jerry Crawford's been calling him tonight.
That pitch was not as close to some of them that he has called, but he has called a couple that were really questionable, but Burke getting a little over anxious.
Here's the 3-2 pitch, and it's lined off the glove of Brooks into left field. He had the play, and safe at first base is Eric Davis. That line drive took off, and it was off the top of the glove of Brooks. And so Davis has a base hit, and for Eric, he's now hit safely in 23 of his last 28 starts.
That was a bullet. that was a 357. He said, "Go ahead and make my day." I'm going to tell you what. He tried to get up, and he's lucky it didn't go right through that glove, through the web and everything else. He could not believe it. Wallach hit a ball down to me at third one time like that, and it was a slider. It was one of those things that just kept coming after you, and all of a sudden you got your glove in front of your face, and the glove has blocked the ball in.
There it goes. Jackie Moore comes out of the dugout. He is now the acting manager for the Expos with Rogers, and
talking that long to Jerry Crawford. He's going to make a double change.
Yeah.
He's going to switch, and Casey Kendall has come out and
Clearly the catching there. Kendall goes out of the ball game, and Francois will come in. And
well, let's just take a wild guess. Somebody has to come out. We take out Nichols out of center field. We'll put Kendall back out in center field. We'll put Law at second.
Is this a guess
we'll
or
bring
is this
in a
what
reliever? I'm saying this is what's going to happen now. Nobody knows it. They haven't announced it.
well, I think you're right about Nichols.
There goes Kendall.
And you're right about Kendall.
And Law is at second base. And there's a guy coming in the bullpen.
Well, you're right about those switches, so calling a triple switch.
Maybe Bobby McClure. I can't see from here, but he seems like a little short left-hander that they have. Out of their bullpen from the left side.
It is Bob McClure. So now McClure becomes the fourth Expo pitcher.
And McClure with a record of 4-1 with a 4.70 ERA. A big roundhouse breaking ball, dart fastball, 30 and 2/3 inning, 33 hits. About 20 runs, 16 earned, 8 home runs he has given up in his 30 innings. 3 base on balls, which means 45 base runners in the 30 innings. That's 1.5 base runners per inning. But his job specifically is to come out and get left-handers out. That's
positions. And at Shea Stadium, the first visit that the Expos took to Shea Stadium, he started in center field and went to shortstop and then moved over to second base. So in this game, he started in right and he went to second base and then is moving out to center field. So it's sort of a reverse triangle effect that he's playing here. To use geometry.
Some of the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides.
Yeah, but what's the score?
3-3.
Okay, let's go.
He is due. And let's see what Eric has in mind at first base. McClure with a pretty good move. Eric has 1 foot right on the edge of the carpet. The stretch by McClure, and he delivers, and Parker swings on a sweeping curveball. Tracy Jones on deck. McClure the stretch. He delivers. There goes Davis. The pitcher swung on and missed. The throw down is not in time, and 35 of them for Eric Davis. Bob Davison right there, the second base umpire, and he calls Eric safe. So a big steal, and a count 0-2 to Dave Parker. Pretty good throw by Jeff Reed, but Eric able to get under the tag. Pitch for Reed to throw on, too. So no balls, 2 strikes to Parker. A breaking ball down around the ankles, and Reed came up firing. So now just a little flare somewhere. McClure sets. He delivers the 0-2, and a curveball is outside as Parker checks his swing. 1-2. Andy McGavigan loosening down in the Montreal bullpen. Brewer steps back off the pitching rubber, and Parker backs away from the plate. Now Dave's back in. And the stretch. The 1-2. Swing and a miss. He got him with a breaking ball, and that's the 4th straight time that Parker has struck out, and he wears the sombrero. Well, 2 away, and here comes Jackie Moore again, and that'll be it for McClure. He'll bring on McGavigan to face Tracy Jones, and he already waves to the bullpen that he wants McGaffigan. So Bob McClure comes on and gets the job done, striking out Parker with Davis at second. So Tracy Jones will be the pinch hitter for Johnny Franco. Tracy hitting .298, and as a pinch hitter, he's 3 for 13 with a home run and an RBI. Well, Andy McGaffigan comes on. He becomes the 5th pitcher used by the Montreal Expos. McClure works a third of an inning, gets the strikeout, and McGaffigan onto the pitcher's mound. Andy is 1-1 with a .234 earned run average. He's making his 41st appearance of the year. 65 in the third innings, 58 hits, 18 walks, 53 strikeouts. While McGaffigan loosens, we'll check the scoreboard for you. First in the National League. Pitch, and Jones swings and fouls. Tracy hitting .298. The 10 home runs has driven in 31. Gaffigan ready with the 0-1. He delivers, and Tracy grounds it wide to third. Wallach fielding, he throws, and that's in. McGaffigan retires Tracy Jones on the ground out to third. In the inning, no runs, a hit, no errors, a runner left. At the middle of the 11th, it's the Reds 3 and the Expos 3. Bill Landrum, the new pitcher for the Reds, and for Landrum, this will be his 31st appearance of the year. He's won 3 and lost 1 with a .473 earned run rate. Reached 45 and 2/3 innings, 46 hits, 19 walks, 29 strikeouts, and he faces Jeff Reed with Vance Law on deck, and Reed takes a strike from Landrum. Reed tonight 0 for 4, has scored a run. Bill into the line to pitch, and Reed swings and misses a pitch down and in. 0-2. Johnny Franco, 2 innings. He allowed 3 base hits. The 0-2 delivery, and it's low and inside the ball. 1-2. Bill delivers the 0-1-2. Swung on, ground ball up the middle. There's Larkin fielding and throwing, 1 away. Vance Law up for the first time. Law having a fine year. He owns a .303 batting average with 9 home runs and 39 RBIs, 24 doubles, a triple for Law. Casey Candell on deck. Landrum working to Law, and it's taken for a called strike. And the battle of the bullpen. Landrum the 0-1. Law looks at it down low, and it's a ball to strike. Bill back for the pitch. Check swing, and it's under the knees. 2 balls to strike to Vance Law. Landrum a deep breath, and delivers a 2-1 to Law. It's taken at the knees, a called strike, and it evens at 2 balls, 2 strikes. 2-2. Swung on and line to right. Base hit. Parker over to cut it off. Law makes the turn. He'll hold it. First base. The throw behind him to Frank Kona, but Law's back easily. 12th hit of the game for Montreal, and here's Casey Candell. Candell 3 for 5 tonight, has scored a run. With the 3 hits, Candell ups his batting average to .280. Random the stretch and the pitch, and Candell takes it low and inside. Montreal got a run in the first. The Reds tied it with a run in the third. Went ahead with a run in the fourth. Montreal tied it in the seventh. The Reds went ahead in the eighth. And the Expos tied it with a home run off the bat of Wallach in their half of the eighth. So that's the scoring. The stretch and the 1-0. Candell takes high and inside. It bounces away from Diaz, but no advance Law. 2-0 the count to Candell. It's Webster on deck. Landon ready with the 2-0. And it's high, ball 3. 3 balls, no strikes to Candell with 1 out, and Vance Law at first base. And ready with the 3-0, he delivers, and it's a strike called to the heart of the plate, 3-1. So Landon, the 5th pitcher used by the Reds. Adams' 3-1 delivery, swung on, and that's looped into center field. A base hit. Law makes the turn. On his way to third. Davis's throw is in time. They got him, and Davis throws a strike to Buddy Bell to knock off Vance Law. Big play right there. Candell with his 4th hit of the game. But Law's out at third, trying to go from first to third on a strong throw by Eric Davis. He had to throw a strike to Bell and did to knock off Law. So 2 away, and here's Mitch Webster. Candell at first, Webster at the plate, and Mitch fouls back to the screen. 13th hit of the game for Montreal. Webster 2 for 2. He tied the game in the 7th inning with a single to center, 2-out single off Rob Murphy. Then had a single in the 9th. A stretch in the pitch. Webster swings and a fly ball to right. Dave Parker waits on it, and he has it, and that's the inning. Oh, the Expos in the 11th. No runs, a couple of hits. There were no errors, 1 runner left. And after 11, the Reds 3, the Expos 3. The Expos 13 hits and no errors. And Bo Diaz leads it off as we go to the 12th. And, well, here's Marty. See if you can get a run. I couldn't hit anything.
Well, you had to know it was coming after playing the quickest game all year, 2 hours and 4 minutes last night. Right now, the Reds are a matter of minutes away from being involved in the longest game that they have played in this season. Previously, 3 hours and 37 minutes. That's the high water mark, and they're bearing down on that right now. Here's Bo, and here's McGaffigan, and the pitch is swung on and popped up behind the plate. Jeff Reed giving chase, but it'll be out of play. The Reds have certainly not been without opportunities. They had a chance to win it or go in front in the 10th inning. They had a chance to go in front in the 11th. Conversely, Montreal with a chance to win the game in the bottom of the 9th and again in the 11th. Certainly would have been in Fat City had Eric Davis not once again displayed that
rocket of an arm and cutting down Vance Law at third on Candel's hit. Diaz takes it way inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Martinez, Parrott, Burke, McClure, and now McGaffigan. From the same for Cincinnati. Top half of the 12th with a count of 1 ball, 1 strike is McGaffigan down into Jeff Reed. He stretches and he pitches, and Bo bounces it off the glove. He recovers, he stays up the throw, and he
and was able to gather that.
So there's 1 away in the 12th inning. And here's Collins. Collins with a single in his 1 trip to the plate.
The first for Casey Campbell, but I come in. He came in. They started speaking French.
Speaking like he is now.
4 hits in a game.
Ball 1 outside.
Gaffigan goes to his forehead, he goes to the back of his neck, and he doesn't wipe off at all. And the ball really has a lot of movement on it.
What are you trying to say?
It's available. Why not use it? Nobody's going to call it.
2 balls and no strikes as the pitch rides inside on Collins. Stillwell, the on-deck hitter. Here's the 2-0 pitch in there for a strike. The Yankees lost to the White Sox today, but they didn't lose any ground. Toronto also losing.
The Tigers.
But the Tigers, yes. Tigers coming on. Foul ball, 2-2.
Norman Bear was told by Sparky very early in the season. I was told by Sparky if the pitching holds up, they can win it.
Got off to a slow start, but they've come on.
Ever since Gibson really has returned to the lineup, they have, and Madlock has helped. Net on position of Virginia. Darrell Evans.
Here's McGaffigan's 2-2 pitch. Right 3, fast one in the inside corner. And Collins goes down. 6 strikeout by Montreal pitchers tonight. Of course, they got Parker 4 times. That'll bring up Stillwell. The switch hitter batting left-handed against McGaffigan. Stillwell is 0 for 1 for 3 with a single and a run scored. 2 down, nobody on here in the top of the 12th inning. Foul ball out of play to the left side, strike 1. Minnesota winning. And of course, the Athletics are playing in Milwaukee.
We should have that score. We should have the West Coast scores.
If they play half the games in Hawaii. Oakland's had a big night. 2 strikes to count. Called second strike. Oakland with 5 runs in the 4th inning, 5 again in the 7th. Have a 13-2 lead over the Milwaukee Brewers. So they'll remain 2 games behind Minnesota.
I said earlier that they only had starting pitchers. I forgot about Randy St. Clair. Scratched through him too quickly. There's been so many of them out there.
Rookie, purple clutch. The pitch just inside of Stillwell. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Detroit winning 5-4. Kenneman over Minton. We told you in 10 innings. You mentioned Madlock. He hit his 10th home run. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Foul for Stillwell. By Collins, looks to the 3rd strike. So we now go to the bottom of inning number 12. The Expos and Reds are tied 3-3, and we'll be back in just a moment. Great play, and that ended things. Tim Raines leading off, takes a breaking ball inside 1-0. Raines is 2 for 5 tonight with a pair of singles. 3 runs, 13 hits, no errors, 3-7-2.
3 for 5. Got that one covered up where he got picked off in the 3rd inning. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I marked that in the switch. I got both of them. You're right. I put the first in because I had so many colors and circles around there.
2 double switches and the triple switch we've had tonight. 2 balls and a strike as the count to Rain. Into the windup. Bill Landrum slapped out a play to the left. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Expos scored in the 1st inning tonight. Wallach doubled home Candell to make it 1-0. The Reds tied it up. Bases loaded, walks by Davis, forcing in a run, and then Asaski doubled home the lead to make it 2-1 Cincinnati. That was in the 4th inning. Then in the 7th, the Expos tied it up. Raines fouls it off. On Webster's pinch hit single with 2 outs. Francona gave the Reds a 3-2 lead with a leadoff homer in the 8th, and Tim Wallach matched that with a leadoff homer in the bottom of the 8th for the Expos to make it 3-3, and that's the way it's been. Here's the 2-2 pitch from Landrum, another foul ball back on the screen by Tim Raines. Tim Wallach is on deck, followed by Hubie Brooks. Big game for Candell. He has 4 hits. Webster has 2, and he didn't come into the game till the 7th. Raines has a pair, and Wallach with a homer and a double. Not much from the bottom half of the lineup for the Expos. Pitch taken for a ball, 3-2 now. Full count to Raines. Leading off the bottom of the 12th inning. 3-3 to score. Into the windup is Bill Landrum. And the fastball is hit out to center field, and that's going to drop for a base hit. Davis on a hop, and Tim Raines singles to lead off the bottom of the 12th inning. And Raines with 29 stolen bases in 31 tries, and of course he was picked up, John mentioned, in the 3rd inning.
Bulletin, this just in. In the Pioneer League in the top of the 5th, Pocatello Giants 3, the Salt Lake Trappers 9. Remember, the Trappers would set the all-time professional baseball record of 28 consecutive wins.
Well, I hope we stay on the what inning is it?
Top of the 5th, we got plenty of time.
Big conference at the mound as they discuss what they're going to do with Raines, who has great speed on his first base. Scott Breeden, the pitching coach, is out there. And you know that the Expos, well, you figure that the Expos would have something going at some point, but
yeah, Tim Raines.
and Tim Wallach.
T-squared, Tim and Tim.
Wallach with a double and a home run, 2 RBIs, has 79 on the year. His home run was his 13th. He's 2 for 5. And the Reds discussing how they want to cover it with Stillwell, the second baseman, and Larkin, the shortstop. Bill Landrum with his first pitch, and it was a pitch out. Raines wasn't going. Ball 1.
Okay.
3-3 to score. Expos, if they win, will cut the Cardinal lead to 7.5. Another pitch out, semi-pitch out. Again, Raines wasn't going, and it's 2-0, John.
Well, that's the chance you take. That's what speed does to you. It puts you on the defense, and now nothing to do but go around and back. That fastball hitter, what are you going to throw to him? You got to throw him the fastball.
Raines has the lead at fastball is up high, and it's 3-0. It's in Wallach. 14 hits by the Expos tonight. Three and 1. No, ball 4. It missed, and so Wallach walks. Raines goes to second. So the winning run trots down to second in the person of Tim Raines. Wallach is at first, and here's Hubie Brooks, who has an opposite field single tonight in 5 trips.
Well, I want to talk to Hubie, and
Manager Buck Rogers thrown out a few innings back. Of course, this really could create a very interesting scenario if, in fact, the Expos have Brooks bunting here. And assuming that he gets a bunt down good enough to advance to runners, they most definitely then would walk Galarraga with one out to load the bases. That would bring up the spot occupied by Andy McGaffigan. And, of course, they've got Mike Fitzgerald sitting over there. They're in on the corners. The stretch by Landrum. Brooks showing no signs, and Landrum cannot throw a strike. He is picking a most inopportune time to show the inability to get his pitches over the plate, and they're going to get the Reds bullpen active again with left-hander Bill Shearer. Runners at first and second, nobody out in the 12th inning. The 1-0 pitch, and that's in there for a called strike. So Brooks, at least on the first two pitches, showing no signs at all of bunting. Now he steps out and checks it out again with third base coach Jackie Moore. Green started the inning by singling into left center. Landrum could not get a pitch over, walking Wallach on 4 straight. And his 1-1 pitch to Brooks is on the way, and that's taken Bowen outside, ball 2. So Bill Landrum making it very easy for Montreal at the moment.
Reached down on that pitch. Fouls it off 2-2. Looked like he decided he was going to swing at that pitch no matter where it was.
I think he believed that at 2-1 he could not try a breaking ball. He, however, did. It would have been a ball 3. Had it himself, but good defensive 2-strike hitter.
Here comes the 2-2 pitch by Landrum. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Foul tip held on to by Diaz as Brooks went after a fastball just outside the strike zone. That's the first out here in the 12th inning. And the first strikeout by Bill Landrum, and that'll bring up Andres Galarraga, who was 1 for 4 with an infield hit. Was also hit by a pitch. Reached on an error as well. Tim Raines ran off with a single. Wallach walked. 1 out. First and second. 3-3 in the 12th. Breaking ball bounced to third, foul. Strike 1.
Fitzgerald has moved to the on-deck circle for the Expos. He was back to McGaffigan. That's why St. Clair is getting ready in case they need him.
One strike to Galarraga. He and Wallach have been heroes for the Montreal Expos, who didn't get Tim Raines until after the first month was history. Here's the 0-1 pitch in the dirt. Good stop by Diaz, preventing Raines from advancing to third. 1-1 the count.
Tried to overthrow the breaking ball, and really a nice stop by Bo. Reds in a very tough position. The Expos obviously in the driver's seat at this point.
Expos have doubled the hit output, 14-7. Run-wise, we're all tied 3-3. Checking the runners, Landrum's pitch is low in the dirt again. 2-1. They count to Galarraga. Mike Fitzgerald is on deck for the Expos. Will be a pinch hitter, of course. Infield with double play depth. 2 balls and a strike with 1 out. Outfield relatively shallow. Here's the 2-1 pitch. And a breaking ball is fought off and fouled down the right field line into the stands. So we're 2-2. 2 home runs in the ball game. Wallach with his 13th. Nobody on leading off the 8th after Terry Francona hit his 3rd to lead off the Cincinnati 8th inning, and it was his 3rd home run of the year and 3rd against his former club. The Expos ready for the 2-2 pitch.
And the runners go. The pitch taken for a ball, and a double steal is successful. And now the Expos have runners at 2nd and 3rd. They were both off. No throw from Diaz. As Raines goes to 3rd and Wallach goes to 2nd, and the count is 3-2.
Got to make something happen. Jackie Moore in charge. I would think that Buck Rogers somewhere watching, and of course for Raines, and Wallach had the big lead. The first baseman playing behind it, Francona, no real problem. And now with a count of 3 balls and 2 strikes, you try the breaking ball again from Galarraga. You have to play the infield in. And this might be a defense that you haven't seen before, Dick, as they will bring in Eric Davis to play behind 2nd base, almost on the infield. That doesn't make sense here because he can't get a force out at home. Ball hit over the middle, they can't get Raines. So I cannot imagine why they would want to do it, except now they're going to walk him, and that will make the move.
That'll be ball 4, and Galarraga. Seems like the logical move because you hit the ball anywhere, and without a force, you're in desperate straits. Now let's see how the Reds play it. Mike Fitzgerald is going to pinch hit. The pitcher has 1 game-winning hit this year. The bases are loaded. 1 out. And this crowd of 30,113, and I would have to say that
still a good amount here.
Yeah, most of them are still here and enthusiastic. So Fitzgerald is batting from the gap again. Raines, the winning run is his 3rd. Wallach is at 2nd. Galarraga is at 1st. The infield is currently in. Eric Davis is playing about 3 seconds behind 2nd. Actually, of all of those, Larkin is playing the deepest at short.
And Eric Davis
right behind 2nd. Raines, the key man. The first pitch is in for a strike. 0-1. So basically all Fitzgerald wants to do is make it.